They were 105. 105. They are down to 60 on the number, which, by the way, is 17 better than John Calipari and the Kentucky Wildcats, just to throw that out there. 60, Brett Norsworthy. That is a huge, dramatic climb, but there's still at least 15 more spots you got to go.
Probably so, Dave. Probably so, but going in the right direction. Definitely headed in the direction you want to be going in. Two in front of Josh Pastner's Ramblin' Wreck. 6 in front of Mike Krzyzewski's Blue Devils, but 1 behind SMU. And that a week ago tonight.
Yeah, that's the killer.
It looms large. The split, or not getting the split to Tulsa. The more winnable game against Tulsa was the one there. I thought Tulsa just was the better team the night of the game at FedEx Forum and deserved to win, and when they did. I thought Memphis was the better team at Tulsa and didn't, and how aggravating that was. Mm-hmm. You see who's at 68? Mike Anderson, St. John's.
I love that.
Red Storm.
I love it. I watched St. John's play the other night, and his team ended up winning. It was trying to remember where it was, but it was might have been Marquette. But heck of a game, and it's good to see that smiling face again. I've always liked Mike Anderson. I will tell you this. I just love college basketball just for what occurred last night. We mentioned how close, Memphis had they split with Tulsa, had they swept SMU, they might be in that 45 to 48 range today.
Firmly in the mix.
Yeah, I mean it's that close. But how do you explain Houston?
I can explain this, Dave.
To a team,
you go through all those upsets, and I can't explain it.
You cannot, or you can.
I can definitively explain it. But you go through all the upsets of the night of the year last night in college basketball, and then I will explain it.
All right. So we have seen in the last couple of days. We saw last night Houston, number 5 in the country, fall to a team. I don't know what their net was. It had to be close to 200. They had lost 5 games in a row. Houston couldn't shoot, apparently. They lose that game. Same time Villanova is losing the night before. Tennessee was, 9th in the country when they lost to a team that has just been awful because they can't shoot. Ole Miss, neither team could shoot in that game. I'm telling you, it's crazy. That's why we love college basketball. I want your explanation. I believe in you, Brett Norsworthy, so you got to tell me how Houston could lose to that lousy team. I guess it's the same way Florida State could lose to UCF.
I can explain it. It's easy.
Go ahead.
College basketball in a pandemic.
College basketball in a pandemic. Maybe that's the answer to everything. Crazy.
I dug deep on that one, didn't I?
Crazy. I was really expecting some incredible strategic or
you wanted graphs
that you
found,
an
PowerPoint
analytic gem.
Dave,
but it's just a pandemic.
I keep it simple.
Yeah. How about Ja?
A simple person.
How about Ja getting to, because of voters, the number 4 best vote getter amongst guards in the Western Conference for the All-Star game that probably will be played now? How about that? I didn't think there was any chance.
And we'll ask Keith Smith this. I wonder why the NBA seems so very determined to have All-Star and All-Star game, and maybe not all the trappings around it. Nobody has that this year or for a while and going forward, but they sure seem determined to have that game. That's fine, and I know they're determined to have the break, and then I'm ready to see the second round of the schedule and wonder when that release will be.
I am too. They're more, I think, intent on figuring out the All-Star game than they are figuring out the rest of the regular season. That's okay. Grizz do play again tonight against the new Luke Houston team, hoping to start another win streak, and this one is at FedEx Forum. A later start, though, 8 o'clock tonight, but a later start on Fox Sports South, and we'll get a chance to see what this team can do against a Western Conference foe.
And some fans allowed tonight. I didn't understand the tip times changed either. Historically, traditionally, the Grizzlies it's scheduled for 7, and it tips at 7:10. We know that drill. And tonight it's scheduled for 8, and it will tip about 8:10. But after they rescheduled some of those games or issued new times for some of those games, I didn't understand why, other than I do think, and this is a good idea out there, I think the NBA needs to stagger tip times more, maybe not an hour, but at least 5 and 10 and 15 and 20 minutes, because, they don't have the version of the compilation of everything in one like the NFL has with the Red Zone channel, even on their NBA League Pass. They don't have that. And there are a lot of nights that people that have that and want to watch all the end of exciting games, and you're going crazy with the channel changer because you don't have it all at one like the NFL has it.
Red Zone.
And a lot of these games that start at the same time, crazy finishes are all kind of breaking out, in the same 3 to 5 to 6 minute span, and you're not being able to watch it. I wish they would stagger more. Now this is really staggered from 7 to 8 o'clock.
I'm not sure why that is. I wondered when I saw that change if this was about NBA TV picking up the Fox the Fox Sports Southwest feed. Or Fox Sports Tennessee, excuse me. The Pranica feed, and they're using that for national consumption. That otherwise, I don't know why they would actually delay it.
I don't either. Yesterday I had 2 of my 4 Final Four teams lose on the same day of regular season college basketball. Houston and Villanova
wow.
going down, and everybody's got Gonzaga and Baylor, and everybody will when the brackets come out, and they will be on opposite sides. It will be set up, I guarantee you, they would not meet in the NCAA tournament until the finals. Mike DeCourcy, that was just great to have yesterday, and he missed visiting with you, Dave, and I know you missed being with him.
I did, but I listened on my way down, and I will tell you it was depressing to hear because he painted the scenario that Memphis really has to win out beating Houston twice order, in his mind, and I believe him. He knows what he's talking about. He's doing the brackets for Fox, that in his mind Memphis would have to win out and beat Houston twice, and Houston has lost twice. So it's possible. I certainly think Memphis can win here. I don't know that Memphis can win out. I do think if Memphis were to split with them and wins out, that would be the 20 wins we were talking about. They'd be 16-4 in conference play. It seems to me, and that depends on what else happens, but if things are going to get shaken up like they have the last couple of nights with Tennessee and Houston and Villanova yesterday, I would think they could start to make a pretty good case. I'd have to see exactly where their net would be. We know for sure the quad one opportunities are really not there except for Houston, and even Wichita State now is a quad two, as was beautifully explained by Mike DeCourcy. But I think Lenardi actually said that the Tigers could lose 2 more times. And if they made a decent run in the conference championship, that they would still be in. So I do think that Memphis has a lot to play for. And if they keep winning, as you just said, it could easily take care of itself.
TJ Reeves, he taught me this mantra years ago. Who did you play? Who did you beat? Well, we know that who did you play doesn't offer a lot of really bright, shiny toys for the Tigers the rest of the way, but keep on winning. Mike DeCourcy had a great tweet late last night after the craziest night of the year, and maybe one of the most fun nights of the year, of a fun college basketball year that has been painstaking. But here was his tweet from Mike DeCourcy at TSN Mike. "Am thinking college basketball season needed a bonkers night like this. Houston, Villanova, Virginia Tech, Creighton, Oklahoma State, St. Louis, Florida.
Yeah.
If you are a legit team and didn't lose Wednesday, you probably didn't play."
Well, it was weird. And that St. Louis team, now they've lost a couple of games
How
here.
Good's Florida? How good's SLU? And SLU beat LSU. How good's LSU?
I got to tell you something. How good is the SEC? We were just bragging earlier in the week.
I've never carried the flag for it this year, Dave. You know I haven't.
No.
But I do carry the flag that there are 68 bids, and they're going to get 4 to 6 of them.
Well, I'll just say this. Nobody in that league wants to take control except for Alabama. And Alabama was one of the 4 teams that lost in the Big 12 SEC Challenge. I was impressed
with Oklahoma missing a lot of guys too that day. That was a really ugly game and ugly OU roster that day.
But here's what I'm so torn on that league because I don't think it's a great league. I was impressed that they ended up taking 5 of the 9 games that were played. That would have been 5-5 if Texas had played Kentucky. I don't think there's any chance about that, any doubt about that. But nonetheless, I looked today at CBS's 25+1, their rankings. And there are only 3 teams from the SEC in the top 26. Now, that doesn't mean – because we're going to go basically about 40 to 45 deep when you're looking at those kinds of rankings, and we call that the net now. But when you're looking at that sort of thing, it's going to go 40 to 45 deep. So maybe there are 6 teams in there. I have a hard time thinking there are more than 5. But it's a wide-open league with the exception that Alabama has taken control at least of it
I don't know,
at
it's
the moment.
5.
Maybe not. I know this. We're going to be busy, and I got a couple of more notes before we get to our top and our not top story, which comes your way. Greg Gaston is moving up, folks. We're going to have him at 3:30 to talk Tigers today. Greg Gaston being kind to us because we have a special guest at 5 o'clock where we normally talk Tigers. We'll talk Super Bowl with Todd Lebo from radio in Kansas City. You already mentioned at 4 o'clock NBA with Keith Smith. We'll talk Super Bowl with our great Russell Copeland and get his take and his pick on all of that. And then we'll catch up with all the trending news at about 5:30. We end the show at 5:50 with Crunch Time. Good news today. The Shelby County Health Department has started to vaccinate those in the age group of over 70. Shelby County is the last county in the state to get to 70.
And you're just right there on the bubble to get a vaccine.
I've never. I've said this before. There's only really 2 good reasons to get older and to get into your 60s. One, you get. When I think it's 60, maybe it's 65, you get a national park card for $12. Good forever. As long as you live, you get to go into any national park for free. So that's one.
Yeah.
The other is you get to move up tee boxes. I like that.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, I can get to par 5s and 2 thanks to being older. Now I'm starting to think it's the first time ever I wanted to be 70 just so I can get that darn needle in my shoulder, but they have moved up, so that's good. And finally, and I know you know this, but I just want to refresh your fine memory, Brett Norsworthy, on this day, 1962. You know what happened, don't you?
100.
100? 100.
Was this this wasn't the Wilt Chamberlain 100 day?
No, well, it might have been, but that's not what I'm referring to.
No, it wasn't.
On this day in 1962, go ahead. It's not necessarily sports related.
Beatles?
No. Closer to home. Although the Beatles would have appreciated this.
I do. The dedication of St. Jude Children's Research Hospital.
1962, Danny Thomas opened up the doors to St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. How about that?
Wow, what a landmark day. Dave, I think more into the 70s, and we know how wild and wacky they were. I didn't think you were going here with it when then you said 1962, and I think today was the day Patty Hearst was abducted.
Really?
I think
it's so funny.
True.
It is so funny because I'm one of the few people that actually think that Patty Hearst was a victim. Some people think, she became part of the mob.
Well, but we don't want to spread crazy conspiracy on this show. We like to stick to the facts, don't we?
No, we got enough people in Congress now that can do all that other stuff.
Whew. Don't we?
We do.
That's the best and the brightest, isn't it?
We do.
Is it my segue? Should we segue?
Yes, that's where I'm going, buddy. It's your turn.
Thank you. Thank you. Celebrate the 55th edition of the Big Game Sunday with exclusive 55-1 odds on FanDuel Sportsbook. You heard that right, 55-1. And if you've never tried FanDuel before, new users can wager on either team and get 55-1 odds on Sunday when they play Tampa Bay. That's right, 55-1. Bet $5, win $275 if you pick the winner of the big game Sunday afternoon. The matchups are great. We've talked about the offensive and defensive line, the running backs in the game. Very important for Edwards-Helaire against Leonard Fournette, two LSU guys going against each other. We've had fun all year wagering at FanDuel, and you can have fun on Sunday. It's easy to register, easy to deposit, very easy to find your bet. When you win FanDuel, they pay your winnings out in as little as 24 hours because it's the right thing to do. It's your money. You've won it fair and square. It's easy to place your bet fast. During a game, if you see a trend developing that you love, jump on it like the multi-game parlay and the same-game parlay. Just download the FanDuel Sportsbook app and use promo code CASH to get started. That's FanDuel Sportsbook, promo code CASH. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. New users only. Must wager on designated boost market. Deposit required. Max bonus $275. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. For problem gambling support, call 1-800-889-9789. Very busy show today in this hour, every day brought to you by the great people at Lexus of Memphis, the only Lexus dealership in Memphis. It's at 2600 Ridgeway, and they are online at lexusofmemphis.com. They've kicked off the new year, 2021, in great style with the Golden Opportunity New Year sales event, 901-362-8833. Great offers on all 2021 models. If you've ever thought I'd look great in a Lexus, well, you will, and Lexus of Memphis will make sure of that for you. Drive in luxury and confidence knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Stop by today at Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of an all-new 2021 flagship LS500, and you'll be looking and driving in style. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and they make for the luxury driving experience. 901-362-8833, online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
Well, I think it's your incredible memory is part of what the top story of the day is. On this day, 12 years after Danny Thomas opened up St. Jude Children's Research Hospital in 1974, Patty Hearst was indeed kidnapped in that crazy, beautiful place, Cal Berkeley.
I think our buddy Don Freese was coaching there then.
I think he might have been. That's right.
Because he got the nickname D Freeze by a lot of his coaching buddies, and if you know the story of Patty Hearst and her kidnapping, one of the perpetrators was a guy named D Freeze.
I didn't put those two together, but now I have. No, I think even though it's a story that
I think that's also in the heyday at Cal Berkeley of the Naked Man, the guy that went to class naked.
Well, there was streaking. There was streaking going on at that time.
No, this cat wasn't streaking. He was just strolling down the boulevard all the time, all natural. I'd like to be sitting in survey history with that guy.
They let him do that, huh? Wow, that's crazy.
It's Berkeley Dave.
Crazy. I'm going to say the story, even though it's a bit old. Story of the day is the University of Memphis recruiting for this group to keep setting records every year. First with Norvell, and Ryan Silverfield is a big part of that recruiting staff. And now with him at the helm, they got, whether you listen to 24/7 or Rivals, one of them 45, one of them's got them 46. That is really and truly
at the top of the American. And Dave, what they're doing in Louisiana, and Mississippi, and I've got a question. Somebody let me know, how come Tyrese Johnson, the wide receiver from New Orleans, from Booker T. Washington, New Orleans, he was a long-time commit. He hadn't signed yet. I want to know why. I don't know if it's a grades issue or anything like that. I just don't know. I'm wondering why, because I was told by a Louisiana high school football talent evaluator that if he, wherever he goes, this guy's going to be big time.
Wow. Well, listening to Todd Etheridge, I think is his name. He is the coach of Oxford, Alabama High School, home of Bobby McCain. Also the home of Rock Taylor, who, for whatever reason, Josh Heupel spurned at the last moment. And Todd Etheridge was pretty outspoken in calling Tennessee and Heupel Bush League, but it turns out to be a good thing for the University of Memphis, because in Etheridge's mind, Rock Taylor is a can't miss. He had 3,300 yards in 2 years with him as the coach, used in a lot of different ways. He can be a tight end. He can be a receiver. He can, I guess, be an H-back kind of a guy who could actually carry the ball. When he gets to the edge as a blocker, he obliterates you. So there's a lot of reasons to be really high on Rock Taylor. Why Tennessee and Josh Heupel were not, I do not know. And I do understand their angst, because they think if he had let them know 2 weeks, maybe even a week before signing day, not 24 hours, it would have been a lot easier for the family.
Yeah, and that happens in recruiting, and it'll happen more maybe to the Tigers. It'll be to the Tigers' benefit. My top story, Grizzlies finally back at home at FedEx Forum, first home game since MLK Day. Fans allowed. I don't know what's changed for the better for metrics and data and stuff for an indoor event to allow crowds. It seems very arbitrary, but I'm fine by it. Mask up. Go Grizzlies against the hardened, rustless Rockets. 7 more home games in February after tonight. So the Grizzlies, they haven't been that great at home this year. They got to get great the rest of the way in this month.
It'll be very interesting to me, because I know you get pretty accurate counts. I have not seen in Memphis or anywhere that I've gone, like on the road with football games, where there was a X amount of tickets that were available, where you could buy. and I'm going to say
there's no
usually
scan count this year.
50 to 60% of those tickets actually got bought, because people are still leery of coming. That was the case.
I think everybody knows they're just going to take it on the chin, so they're not giving out any numbers.
Well, that was the case of Memphis last night. There were probably, somewhere between 1,500 and 2,000 people at FedEx Forum last night. They could sell 3,000 to 3,500 tickets, I believe is the number. That should be the same amount that they will allow for the Grizzlies. Now, maybe they'll allow a few more, because they have those 72 floor space ticket holders that are in the bubble. So we'll see what the count is. I'll be very interested to see, and I'm not doing that to compare the Tigers and the Grizzlies. I'm just curious to see how brave people are and how far along we might be getting in actually going out and intermingling in fairly close quarters, especially, as you say, inside.
Not top story of the day.
Well, these are the numbers. In Shelby County, 220 new cases, but I did mention, and I'm so happy about this, the age for vaccinations now, which was 75 and above, along with all the other phases of healthcare workers and frontline first responders and things of that nature. We now have had, by the way, with the combination of first doses, which are much more, and those that have had both doses, we're at 67,000 vaccines that have been given in Shelby County. So that's 5.5% of Shelby County. You go to the rest of the state average, 7.5%. Why we still are 2% behind is very irritating to me, and it makes you wonder about the way the state of Tennessee treats the people on the western part of the state. Tennessee, 733,000 cases now. Mississippi at 1,200 new, which is actually coming down. They're at 278. Arkansas, 300,000 on the head. We had 34,000 new cases in the U.S., 9,750,000 active. We had 300,000 new cases around the world. That again coming down. And about 26 million active cases worldwide.
My not top story, 93 ESPN analysts, commentators, experts, if you will, they've picked the Super Bowl already. 69 picking Kansas City,
wow, with
24 picking Tampa Bay. So that's 74% picking Kansas City. We've had 11 picks of analysts so far. Only 3 picking Tampa Bay so far. Jeff Moore, T.J. Reeves, of course, and Rick Harrow. So everybody in the year that nobody can pick against Tom Brady, everybody's picking against Tom Brady.
So that's the same thing, almost 25%. But I got to say, I see a little regional bias there with 2 of those voters. I mean, here's a guy on the Buccaneers radio crew. He's got his own opinion. We understand that, but he's not going to pick against this team. And then you got Rick from Miami. It's another Florida guy. We got to get more, and we will today. Can't wait to hear from all the other folks and their picks coming your way. So we are busy, and those are your top and your not top stories, and we are officially underway on this Monday. Greg Gaston and Talking Tigers with all that basketball and that recruiting class. That comes your way in just a minute.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ. Listen to us daily on AM 560, 98.5 FM, and 96.1 FM.
Hi, folks. Bob Burkhammer, Sunrise Buick GMC. You know Sunrise has the best selection, price, and has financing for everyone. But did you know you can bring your vehicle to Sunrise's award-winning, certified, state-of-the-art service department no matter where you bought it? Maintenance, engine, transmission, brakes, or tires. Bring it to Sunrise. Need body work? Tell your insurance agent you want to bring it to Sunrise. We work on all makes and models from minor body to major collision. We've got you covered at Sunrise. Sales, service, body shop, and parts all under one roof. Schedule an appointment at sunrisememphis.com. 3 locations, Covington, Pike, Bartlett, and Collierville.
Carmen's startup found an angel investor, but now they're asking for a miracle from her development team.
Hello, this is Carmen. That's exciting news. I guess we could launch early.
It's time to hire.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. The moment you sponsor a job on Indeed, you get a short list of quality candidates from our resume database. Indeed delivers 2.5 times more hires than the other branded job sites combined, according to Breezy HR 2019. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get a $75 credit for your first job post. Terms and conditions apply.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
2021 is finally here. Might I suggest we start the wonderful new year with a makeover for your beautiful house. I'm Brian Elder. I'm a roofer. I fix roofs. Don't let them tell you that it has to be replaced when all it may need is some love. 867-0303. Let me love on your roof. I've made quite the reputation over the last decade as the guy to call after the insurance company denies the claim. Overturning a claim that has gone bad is an art form where you argue county code, manufacturer specs, and details of your policy that they have to abide by. So let me see it first. If I say it's a claim, it's a claim. 867-0303. Money is free at Brian Elder Roofing with 0% financing for half a decade. I'll measure your roof from outer space and get you a quote right over the phone. 867-0303 or brianelderroofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
We welcome you back into the Family Leisure Studios. And a reminder, I love it, the early bird pool sale still going on. Please reserve your installation spot and get that great sale. Take advantage. You're going to get the price that's there right now, not the price that's going to be there in the summer when you know it goes up. Same thing with spas, hundreds on order. Reserve yours now. Get the early bird special price where it is locked in. And play gyms, by the way, in stock and ready for installation. Going to be near 60 degrees on Sunday and sunshine. Wouldn't you love for your kids while you're getting ready for the Super Bowl to go outside and play on a play gym? Call or get over to Family Leisure right now. That's I-40 just north of Whidden Road. What's on Whidden Road just north of I-40, where family and fun truly do come together. Family Leisure with the early bird sales going on right now. I know we're in a little different time slot, Mr. Norsworthy, but we are talking Tigers.
We are. We're glad to do it every week with Greg. So appreciate him accommodating us today. It's brought to you by Rule Schmidt and your Remax Realtor. You can find Rule's website at yourgermantownagent.com. Rule, thank you so much for being a part of our team. The law offices of Stephen Leffler, Presto Shutters, Christ Community Church, and Mount Moriah Auto Sales.
Greg Gaston joins us now, and we have a lot to talk about with Greg Gaston. Let's start with yesterday, and not Tiger basketball, but Tiger football, and the class that Ryan Silverfield has put together. I want to point out we saw a change. You know, one thing, Justin Fuente was a terrific coach, and he changed the culture. And I respect Justin Fuente as much as I've respected any football coach that we have had. But when Mike Norvell came in, you got that same really innovative offensive mind. But you got a guy who was a little bit better at recruiting on that staff, helping them recruit some of the bigger names like Nashville and Obina Eze and TJ Carter to begin with, was Ryan Silverfield. And now Ryan Silverfield, I think, Greg, has taken it a step further. And when you're either 45 or 46 in the country with recruiting classes, and the last one you got, your first, this is Silverfield by himself, was in the low 50s, which was the best at that time the school had ever done. Well, I think we're about to see an era which has been really good since the second or third year of Fuente. Even get accelerated a little bit higher. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you. Good afternoon, Brett. And I think you're right on. Well, first time ever a top 50 recruiting class at Memphis. Norvell certainly set the tone. This offense is one of the most exciting offenses that we see in the country, and that has certainly excited a lot of athletes out there, obviously on the offensive end, but they've even done a good job on the defensive side, getting some stellar athletes, and they just picked up where they left off. Kids right now look at Memphis as a gateway to get to the NFL. They don't have to go to an SEC school. They don't have to go to what we know as a Power 5 school. They can get to the NFL by going to the University of Memphis, because it's been proven year after year. There just seems to be a nice little pipeline going right now, and that class that they put together is a real nice-looking class. From a quarterback, a young quarterback in Texas who won a state championship at a high level, and the next day he was heading to the University of Memphis as an early enrollee. So he's already at the school. And then you throw in what they were able to get via the transfer portal. They did an outstanding job. So credit and kudos goes to Ryan Silverfield and his staff. And remember, he had a couple of changes on the staff as well, so they had to bring in a couple of new assistant coaches. Busy time. They also have to decipher the whole what athletes are going to be staying, who got that extra year of eligibility and were seniors. A couple of those guys will be part of the roster next year. So it wasn't easy to do what they did, and I give them a lot of credit for be able to come through with what looks like a really good class. Obviously, it's on paper. We haven't seen those guys play it down yet, but I think there's a lot of excitement getting that top 50 recruiting class at Memphis.
Greg, it speaks for itself, the just year-over-year improvement and national branding that this football program is starting to receive, from game day to Cotton Bowl to AAC championship game to a bowl win last December on a night that, if you were interested in college football, I think a lot of people were plugged into and watching that very solid win. And you see this offense, and you see Justin Fuente win. You see Mike Norvell win. You see Ryan Silverfield win. It looks like something fun to be a part of.
Yeah, it was the direction they had to go. Football was starting to change, as you guys know, to become the offensive game it is. Now, you still, to win it all, to be in Alabama, you have to play defense as well. But for the most part, to bring the excitement to the fan base, you had to put points on the board. And I remember coming here now. I've been here now a quarter of a century, so I've been here a long time. But I always go back to those early Memphis Tigers teams when I got here that played pretty good defense but didn't play a lick of offense. And now it's a different game. So, yes, starting with Justin Fuente and lucking into Paxton Lynch the way they did, and then going out and getting Riley Ferguson. And to have that quarterback, that's been the key, right? It's been the key through the whole latest era of football, which has been such an exciting brand of football. And then, of course, Brady White. And now you're hoping that whoever comes out of this quarterback battle in the spring, and it may very much go into August, but Gunnell seems to be the name because he's the guy with the Pac-12 experience. But as Ryan Silverfield told me yesterday on our show, on the midday show, he says it's going to be a battle. It's going to be open. There are 4 guys that can win the job. So I think they're really happy with what they have in the quarterback room. But this is a team that just scores points, excites people. I think that's why you have a lot of skill position players now that want to come to Memphis because they see the pipeline, as I talked about earlier, to go to the NFL. But you're also getting offensive linemen. You get a transfer from Michigan State who's going to fit in very nicely. And now it looks like, again, they're able to go out there and get some athletes on the defensive end because that's the area, as you know, Wallo, and Brett, you do too, that's the area they really have to sure things up with is that defense. But coming off an 8-3 season, a bowl victory, I know there's excitement in this fan base. Yeah, absolutely. It wasn't like the year they had the year prior when they went to the Cotton Bowl, but not too shabby with all the obstacles they had to go around and all the pitfalls and everything from the COVID-19, which everybody had to deal with around the country. But I think Memphis did an excellent job in being able to maneuver around everything.
Well, just to get in 11 games, to finally win a bowl game, and to finally beat UCF, those were some pretty nice little benchmarks that were done by Ryan Silverfield. And it just struck me. I was just thinking about this as you guys were talking. Memphis has made 3 really good hires in a row on football. And what is most interesting about it is really and truly all 3 of those hires were made by pretty much different people.
Mm-hmm.
which is amazing because we go back to Fuente, that was really kind of Brad Martin who made that pick, right? And then the Norvell hire was pretty much a combination of Dr. Rudd and Tom Bowen. And then this third one with Laird Veach was the one that finally settled on elevating Ryan Silverfield. So 3 different folks. And I'm sure that the president, Dr. Rudd, was in on the Ryan Silverfield elevation too. But you're talking about different folks really pulling the trigger and making the final decision on what has turned out to be 3 pretty darn good hires to change the whole direction of what the culture of this football program is like. And maybe right around the right time, just in case, there is going to be additions to the Power 5.
Well, you're absolutely right. It's been different people, but also the board, the people that are on the board, and the people we've talked about in the past, the Cato Johnsons, the Alan Graffs, guys that have been very important to the president, very important to the athletics director. They have been there, and they have been through all of this. So there's been some stability as far as that is concerned. But you're right, at the very, very top and the final decisions being made, there have been different people. And Memphis can't afford, and I'm not just saying Memphis, but any school that right now is in, again, the so-called group of 5, they can't afford to have that off year. They can't afford to have that, not off year, but that miss on the hire. They can't afford a 2-year lull and go back to where they were. You have picked up so much momentum that you can't afford to step in mud right now. So that's why it's important to be able to nail the hire. It's at the big schools, it happens as well. At the Power 5 schools, you miss a hire or two. I mean, look at Alabama back in the day. And Brett, you talk about that. Yep. You're in a hole for a long time. So even at the big schools, and when I say big, the Power 5 schools, you can't miss. You need to be near 100% perfection. So it has been pretty darn good.
You miss by a little.
Yes.
You miss by a little, you might as well miss by a mile.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
exactly.
Because the Ryan
and Memphis couldn't afford that, and Ryan Silverfield, he's not going to miss.
Yeah, you beat me right to the punch because you have Ryan Silverfield, I don't know if you want to call him a disciple of Norvell, but just part of that staff with Norvell. It was an easy hire for Laird to make, but he still had to make it to elevate Ryan Silverfield. It was the move, I think, that was necessary. The players were comfortable with him. Obviously, he knows the job. He knows the community. He knows the program. So I think that was great that Ryan Silverfield didn't have any other options. He may have had options. I don't know. But at least publicly, they jumped on it right away and made sure that this was the ultimate option for him to take this head coaching gig. which he did. So you go from Fuente, you get Mike Norvell, which was, again, a hire one. I remember when that was made, I was like, who? Who's this guy? And then you get Ryan Silverfield now. So hopefully Ryan's here for a long haul. And then you have a lot of coaches who have been here. They know what they're doing. They have a system that's been built, and they've done it now over and over again for a half dozen years. And it seems to be really, really working out well. And going back to what you said, Wolo, I'd love to see the dominoes fall again. It's been a long time. We always seem to talk about it. I don't know when it'll happen. It's not a matter of when. It's not a matter of if. It's a matter of when. I do believe we will see, whether it be some expansion of sorts in the big conferences or some movement. But you are putting yourself in position, because that was the one thing that was really lacking, was football. We knew what basketball meant, but now we know what football means on a national scale.
So last night, it got close. 4 points, 42-38, 13:30 left in the game with a team you mauled. You beat by 27 48 hours earlier. And then the Tigers said, okay, 13-2 run. They take control of the game. Alo, I think, had 6 points, 2 assists, and a steal and a rebound in that little run. He's sort of the barometer of the way the Tigers go. Nolly had a big night. Defense was again up front and dominating. And now Memphis has put themselves in an interesting position. I think if they were to win out and split, with the exception of splitting with Houston, I think they got a chance at being an at-large team. I look, they're doing some things now that make you start to appreciate where Penny is going with all of this. That was their 5th straight home conference win. To find the last time they won 5 straight conference home games, you've got to go all the way back to the 2008 team that played in the championship game in CUSA. That's how far back you got to go, 2008, to find that. So all of a sudden, and I know the league is not quite as good as it had been the last few years. All of a sudden, though, Penny's team's coming together at the right time.
Yeah, forget about the opponents, okay? Forget about the American Conference being down. The way the team is playing is night and day from the way they were playing just a few weeks ago. So it's almost like he just turned on a switch, but that's not as easy as it seems, because they went in there and they revamped the whole offense, and they practiced and they practiced. And the first time they rolled out that new offense, it looked like the old offense, and people were poking fun at it. And, the Lion offense looks – no, it's working. It's really, really working, and the players are buying into it. Monday night was a Picasso. Monday night was a really good-looking performance.
Oh, yeah.
Last night was more like me drawing stick figures. It wasn't that pretty, but it was effective.
But okay.
And like you said, Waldo,
still win by 14, for goodness sake.
Yeah, as soon as it got
Greg,
tight,
last night last night was you on a tee box. Monday night was Wolo on a tee box.
Pardon me?
Oh gosh!
Have you ever seen?
Killing my golf game.
Have you ever seen Greg Gaston on a tee box?
That's what I was talking about. Last night was a little uglier than Monday night.
See, he must be getting that info from you, Waldo, because Stats has never been on the golf course with me. So my God, he's just hearing bad things.
Let me put it to you.
I get reports though.
Monday night was like Greg on the greens. That's the one thing Greg can do. He can putt. I'm just letting you know.
Go. That's all that matters, Greg. That's who wins the cash. Greg, we want to get a Super Bowl prediction from you, but we don't want to do it if you're saving it for the big moment tomorrow with you and Eli, and I can get you to text it to me, whichever way you want to go. If you want to save it, I'll get it from you tomorrow, and we'll go back and we'll add it in. But I do want to ask you this. I know you are a gigantic Colts fan, growing up a huge Baltimore Colts fan. Drew and I talked about this yesterday. We know Super Bowl five was famous for a lot of turnovers, fumble fest, a lot of missed field goals, a missed extra point. But at the end, Jim O'Brien nailed the winning field goal. And we know that that's the only Super Bowl where on a defeated team came the MVP, Chuck Howley, linebacker for the Cowboys. And we brought this up yesterday. Was the media that was voting, were they drunk and voted at the end of the third quarter? I mean, did they not see John Mackey? Did they not see Jim O'Brien at the buzzer? Did they not see Mike Curtis's interception? What were they thinking voting Chuck Howley?
That was that Colts hatred, man. It was the Cowboys, for goodness sakes. They were even America's team back then.
No,
driving me crazy.
I will tell you. I think you hit it. I think in a lot of these instances, even in the bowl games, and take the AutoZone Liberty Bowl for that matter. So what I do on the voting now is I go, if this team wins, here's your MVP. If this team wins, here's your MVP. I don't think they did that. I think really you had to have all your votes in by the 5-minute mark.
Oh, Dave,
and
Drew,
that's the way it
Dave
was.
thinks they really count those votes. You think your votes are really counted for MVP and stuff at bowls?
Well, don't ruin that.
You
image
ruined
for
it for me now.
Yeah.
Stats, come on, you ruined it.
Are you telling me they don't? Do you know that for a fact? Have you been there where they just said, "We don't care what they say, we're going to pick it"?
I think a few people decided who's MVP.
That's stirring up the pot today. But to get back to Super Bowl V, Jim O'Brien hits the game winner. Come on, it's a game-winning field goal in the Super Bowl. John Mackey was – look, Super Bowl V, man, that's one of the great memories I have. And yeah, it was very strange to have a player from a losing team win the most valuable player in the Super Bowl. That's just weird.
Greg, I promise you, through the years at Radio Row at the Super Bowl, one of my favorite interviews with John Mackey's widow, and she was advocating, a little more money for the retired players fund and more insurance and benefits for retired players. She was one of the most delightful people I have ever met in my life.
I remember you telling me about that. I remember you talking about Mackey. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, because I know you have a memory that's just that surpasses everybody. Didn't Mackey, like Johnny Unitas, end up with the Chargers at the end of his career?
Yes, he did.
Did he
yes,
really?
he did. I've got a football card of both of them with the Chargers. Yeah, John Mackey did end up with the Bolts, and they were really bad. So I'm going to text you tomorrow or you can text me, and I won't reveal it until tomorrow. Your score and winner, okay?
You got it.
All right, Greg, thank you much. We appreciate it.
Okay, guys, take care. Have a great day.
We
do, Greg. Thank you, man.
Yeah, we by the way, have some info on Tom Brady. John Brody. No, Tom Brady. The guy that's playing on Sunday.
Yeah, that guy.
We've got those.
We'll get to it after the break.
Yeah.
I've got some great. I've wondered this all week, so I thought, heck, I hadn't found anywhere. I'll just do it myself, and I did. What he was favored or underdog, and what his record is. Greg Gaston, just brought to you by Rule Smith Remax Realtor. Your GermantownAgent.com. That's Rule's website. Your GermantownAgent.com. The law offices of Stephen Leffler, Christ Community Church, Presto Shutters, and Mount Moriah Auto Sales.
We take the time out. Tom Brady numbers in just a minute.
Basketball has met its match. It's Sports 56 Mornings with your assist kings, Pete and Sane. Bringing you the best alley-oops of informative sports talk. Great guests, calls and texts, prize giveaways, and more.
Head on over to Frontier Western Store for their famous February sale. This is Frontier's biggest sale of the year, and it's time to save big on boots and apparel. All men's jeans are now on sale. Wrangler Carhartt pants, $5 off. Area denim is also $5 off. There are huge savings on Carhartt shirts as well. Select clearance shirts and outerwear up to 50% off. Area shirts and jackets discounted as well. Hurry in for the best selection. All novelty shirts, including Simply Southern, Girly Girl, and Puppy Love, are buy one, get one half price. Men's t-shirts by Live Oak and A-Boat, also included in this sale. Frontier has markdowns in the boot room as well. Hundreds of boots by Double H, Rocky, Durango, and Ariat, now priced to move to make room for new spring arrivals. Stop by Frontier today and grab your next pair of dress or work boots. It's the famous February sale at Frontier Western Store, 5880 Goodman Road in Olive Branch, and on the web at frontierwesternstore.com. Family owned and operated since 1967.
It's that time of year again. Time for the big game and time for taxes. David Nanny, CPA, can help you with both. He's sponsoring this year's big game coverage on Sports 56, and David and his team have all the experience you need for all your tax filing needs too. Whether it's a return for an individual or for a small business, give him a call today. 901-763-2000. That's 901-763-2000. David Nanny, CPA for you.
Do not wait for summer. Get your pool now during the early bird pool sale at Family Leisure through February the 7th. You can reserve your installation spot on your new pool purchase from Family Leisure. You know the prices like the temperature. They'll go up when it gets warmer, so you must reserve yours now. Family Leisure has hundreds of spas on order, so reserve yours now. The early bird pool sales happening now at Family Leisure, Whidden Road at I-40, where family and fun come together.
Need to sell your home? You're in luck because I buy houses. All you have to do is call Bill at 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. Grab that PIN, 901-406-1101, or just save it in your phone. Bill at I Buy Houses. I Buy Houses buys houses in any area, in any condition, at any time. As simple as that. I Buy Houses is guaranteed to close in 5 days. So if you need your cash fast, just call Bill at I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101. Has your house been on the market? Were you just tired of renters? Or is it just time to start over? Well, avoid repairing, cleaning, painting, and prepping your house. Just pick up the phone and call Bill at 901-406-1101. That's Bill at I Buy Houses. If you're in Southwind, South Memphis, North Mississippi, North Memphis, Collierville, if you can hear this, just call my friend Bill at I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
We like to party.
Welcome back in. We should have mentioned this on Talking Tigers, but the Memphis football program, besides that recruiting class yesterday, got some pretty darn good news today, or at least somebody did, and that's Kenny Gainwell. He got invited to the Combine. I saw that he tweeted out, "It is a dream come true. It's what he's been working for. We only wish him the very, very best." And wouldn't that be something? He, Pollard, and Henderson, all three at the same time playing in the National Football League. That would be something else. That would be the first ever for this program.
And you're leaving one out. Gibson.
Oh, Gibson. Gibby. That's right.
Yeah.
And
he got two in the NFC East. You might get another one in the NFC
right.
East. They used to love to run the ball. We're looking forward to Sunday afternoon in the big game. And with it's big game time, it's tax time. And David Nanny, CPA, he's been helping Mid-Southerners with all their tax needs for over 15 years. David helped me out. He can help you out. Call David at 901-763-2000. That's 901-763-2000. He's our exclusive sponsor for the big game on Sunday afternoon. I've got Tom Brady numbers that will amaze you, but let me throw out this number too. Commissary Big Q on the big game trivia right now. 6-pack of barbecue from the commissary. On the big game coming up Sunday, here's the big Q question. Three people share the AutoZone Liberty Bowl record for most receptions in an AutoZone Liberty Bowl game. It's 10. All three, that's the record, 10. One of the three went on to be MVP of a Super Bowl. Name him.
Three guys who've played in the AutoZone Liberty Bowl have 10 catches in a Super Bowl. One of them.
No,
Dave.
10 catches in the AutoZone Liberty Bowl.
Yeah.
3 people were tied for that record.
Right.
10 in an AutoZone Liberty Bowl. Played at the Liberty Bowl Stadium in Memphis, Tennessee.
Right.
One of the three went on to be
a Super
Bowl MVP.
Okay, got it.
Tom Brady, he played in a Super Bowl. He has never played in AutoZone Liberty Bowl. He's never played in Memphis. I don't know that he's ever played in the state. Well, he's played against the Titans in the state of Tennessee. Yeah,
That's
he's
right.
done that. Super Bowl 36, he was a 14-point underdog. I loved the Patriots that day. And, of course, he got there with the win. Super Bowl 38, he was a 7-point favorite. Won the game, did not cover the point spread.
Okay.
Same in Super Bowl 39, 7-point favorite, won the game, did not cover the point spread.
1-2.
Super Bowl 42 against the Giants. Follow this trend, too. Against the Giants, 12.5-point favorite. They were going for 19-0 that year, didn't win the game, didn't cover the point spread.
1-3.
Super Bowl 46 against the Giants, 3-point favorite. Didn't win the game, didn't cover the point spread.
1-4 against
Super
the spread.
Bowl 49. Super Bowl 49 against Seattle. Pick them. Just pick the winner. That sounds easy, doesn't it? Well, they won, thanks to Pete Carroll losing his mind on the goal line, but he won, so he covered the point spread by picking the winner. Against the Falcons, -3, took overtime, but he got there. Won the game, won against the point spread.
3-4.
Super Bowl 52 against Philadelphia, 4.5-point favorite. They didn't win the game. He didn't cover the point spread.
3-5. He's not as good as a favorite as he is an underdog, I guess is what you're saying.
Super Bowl 53 against the Rams, 2-point favorite. They win by 10. Won the game, won the point spread. He's 4-5 all time against the point spread, but he's 6-3 where it matters for him. 4-time MVP. So 6 times he's won the game. He's been the MVP twice. Had wide receivers, one of them the answer to our Big Q trivia question, and Julian Edelman being the other one. So, pretty good for him, but, great for him. There's no denying that. But all these people about you don't pick against Tom Brady, you're pretty good picking against him.
Oh, you're
in the Super Bowl against the point spread.
You're one ahead, 4-5.
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting. I thought you were going with if he's a favorite or if he's a dog, but he's won and lost both ways.
Only been a dog once and won outright, 20-17, and he was MVP of that over the Rams, and he was a pick'em. Everything else favored, and 7 points is a lot in the NFL. Favored 7 twice, favored 12.5 once. That's big NFL point spread numbers.
No question. We got to let everybody know this portion of the show is brought to you by Dinstall's. There's nothing sweeter, and as all the folks at Dinstall's like to say, nobody dips them like Dinstall's when it comes to chocolate-covered strawberries, and they're back. Love is in the air. We appreciate that. Every year we go and we do a remote, ourselves and Greg and Eli in middays. We do that at the wonderful place where they make all the candies on Pleasant View. Well, we can't. So what we're going to do is we're going to have virtual sweetness on Monday, starting with middays all the way through with us till 6 o'clock. We're going to give away once an hour a package of goodies from Dinstall's. Also, if you mention us when you get there, and everything is pickup. Now, you get to go inside, but it's got to be limited, so they really want to bring it out to you. And if you mention us, you're going to get 14% off your order. So we'll tell you more and more about that on Monday. But we are going to have fun. We're letting you know there's all kinds of great heart-shaped boxes with the greatest of the finest assortment, or the turtlettes, or the all-nut assortment. There's nuts, chewies, and crunchies. There's creams, cherries, and truffles. Valentine boxes from 3 to 7 pounds. There's a box to fit everybody's wallet. And starting Thursday, February 11th, strawberries are back. Can't wait to chat with Becky and all the folks at Dinstall's. That'll be a big show on Monday. That's 1 hour in the books. When we come back, we will talk NBA. Grizz play tonight. We'll talk All-Star, the voting, with our friend from Yahoo, Keith Smith, down in Orlando. That's where we head in a minute.
There's an institution in East Memphis that I love talking about. It's the Spirit Shop at 4848 Poplar Avenue, right down the street from Clark Tower, and it looks like a log cabin. It's been around Memphis since 1969 with a family-owned, friendly, knowledgeable sales staff that is just a wonderful place to go. I love going in and talking wine or bourbons, and they've got such great selection. So if you've not visited the Spirit Shop in a while, it's been remodeled. You'll love what you see when you need spirits. Tell Eddie Wollo said hello.
Does learning a language feel like this?
No habla español?
Hablo.
It's hablo?
Yes.
It's hablo.
Bom dia, like good day, good morning, I think.
I can say, je m'appelle David, but that's probably it.
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
This year is my year to get fluent in Spanish, and Babbel is definitely going to help me do that. The app is so easy to use, and it's so practical. It helps you learn things that you will actually need.
Since my husband is from Guatemala, I'll apply what I've learned in Babbel
applicable to our real-life situations.
I've tried other language learning apps and nothing really stuck. Babbel's been a complete game changer for me.
Hoy es miércoles y el clima está muy bueno afuera.
Estou com fome. Eu não tomei café de manhã.
Je suis des États-Unis et du viens-tu?
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
This is Sheldon Rosengarten with Mark's Bensdorf Realtors. When I talk to people about selling their homes or buying one, my motto is stick to your game plan. I learned this from my friend Coach Terry Tippett. Coach, you didn't go into a game without having a plan, did you?
No, Sheldon. Having a plan was critical to the success of all my teams.
That's right, Coach. Sticking to your game plan helped you win 4 state championships.
That's wrong, Sheldon. It was 6, just like the number of shots you make on a par 3.
Well, Coach, we've played golf together. What advice can you give me about my game?
You probably need to stick to real estate, as you're much better at doing that. Or perhaps bowling.
Great advice about real estate, not bowling. And as I always tell people, if they're thinking of selling their home, talk to 2 to 3 real estate brokers and let me be one of them. As they often say, when you want the job done, Coach, who should they call?
Sheldon, of course.
You can reach me at 682-1868 or memphisrelocate.com. That's 682-1868 or memphisrelocate.com.
Sunday, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Kansas City Chiefs square off in Super Bowl 55. Hi, this is Scott Graham. Join me and the rest of our Westwood One crew for all the action. Will Bucs quarterback Tom Brady win an unprecedented 7th Super Bowl ring? Or will the Chiefs and QB Patrick Mahomes become the first team to win back-to-back titles since Brady and the Patriots 17 years ago? If it's Super Bowl 55, it's right here.
On Sports 56, 98.5 and 96.1.
Looking for a great place to deposit your money? Try First Bank. Competitive CD rates, a money market that moves with Wall Street prime and interest-bearing checking account options. Not to mention their friendly bankers who make decisions locally. To find out more, stop by one of First Bank's 3 local branches. 6482 Poplar Avenue, just east of International Paper. 8398 Highway 64 across from Wolf Chase. And 6280 Highway 64 in Oakland. Or visit firstbankonline.com. Member FDIC.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, W253DF Memphis, and WIVG Tunica Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Welcome back in hour number 2. Day after the Tigers get a sweep from UCF. The Grizzlies are back in action tonight. It is also the day that vaccinations in Shelby County are going to be open to those that are 70 and above from 75. Last one in the state, Shelby County, to get there, but we finally got there. That is really good news for sure. It's also the day in 1962 that Danny Thomas opened up for the very first time St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. So it is a terrific day. It's also a day where somebody was very sharp. We had a big Q giveaway from the commissary. We've been doing one every week. It's involved with the Super Bowl. And Brett, you came up with a dandy, and somebody was really smart to get it.
Sure did. Bobby Joe Edmonds of Arkansas, I was there the night he had 10 receptions. You called the game when Alan Lazard for Iowa State had 10 receptions, but it was Deion Branch for Louisville against Colorado State when he had 10, and he went on to be MVP of a Super Bowl. 2 wide receivers for Brady been Super Bowl MVPs, Julian Edelman and Deion Branch. They're a lot better wide receiver Super Bowl MVPs than those 2. That was Brady putting it on the numbers to both of them.
No doubt. But I'm happy for Branch. And Edelman does seem to come to life when it comes to postseason play, and you got to respect a guy who is a winner like that. We mentioned just a bit ago that the Grizzlies are back in action tonight against Houston, and this was really, I thought, very impressive, and I think it's not just folks around here. The Grizzlies have tried to make, and should, a big deal about becoming an all-star for John Morant, and folks are voting because he's the 4th guard, number 4 guard in the West, getting votes. And a lot of that is from here, but it's got to be from all over the country, too. Keith Smith covers the NBA as well as anybody. He does it for Yahoo Sports. And, Keith, were you surprised when you looked at some of these totals and saw that Ja is so high up in this second year of his?
Yeah, it was a little bit. It's hopefully a testament to just how good he is. And I think that's what it is. I think he's a fun player. I think he's somebody that younger viewers really gravitate to because they tend to like those smaller guards who are doing, they kind of doing a lot of things out there. So I think it's, that is a lot of fun for a lot of people. So I think that's great to show, it may be a smaller market in the NBA world, but guys transcend markets if they're good enough.
Keith, obviously, the test of time, some seasoning for him. We know he needs that, but is there a glaring part of his game you think he really needs to work on?
I think occasionally his defense can wax and wane a little bit. It's not really effort level, but I think he might lose a little bit of focus. But that's true of almost every young player in the league, unless they come in and that's all they do is defense. So I'm being nitpicky there because I think he's been a better shooter than anybody thought he would be. There was questions about his ability to be a playmaker for others, and he's done that quite well. So anything you find flaw with is fairly minimal.
Keith, why are we so locked in on trying to get an all-star game, which, really doesn't mean much? You could still vote, and the way it would go, if you're looking for your clauses in contracts, maybe that would become pretty important. But why is that taking the emphasis over figuring out the schedule for the second half?
Yeah, I don't have a good answer to that one. I tweeted this morning that, naming all-stars is important because of contract reasons primarily. A lot of guys have bonuses related to being an all-star in their deal. And then it's also just important from a historical context. But actually playing the game, no one should really care. It's not, even when it's entertaining, it's never really good. And I don't think anybody's going to miss it if they don't have it. It's easily my least favorite part of the entire All-Star weekend is the game. So I worry that this is not sending the best message when things are getting better for sure. They had 0 positive tests in the last week. We had a game postponed, it seems like, out of an abundance of caution a couple of nights ago. But other than that, we're starting to look like we're getting back on track. But as long as there's still the potential for games to be canceled, I don't see any reason why we're having a game.
Keith, that game the other night, I swear I had the old Twitter machine out and all but had it typed out of about 5 or 6 days in a row, and I had the number of games since the last game postponed. And then on your Twitter feed, it broke that game at literally 0 hour. I mean, just right up to all but throwing the basketball in there. That one was canceled. And that's been the only scratch for about 7 days now. Is that right?
Yeah, that sounds about right. And that one then after came back to I believe, if I have this correctly, it was a false positive. But that shows, they're not messing around now. If there's any question, they're probably going to postpone it and they'll figure it out in the second half. And I think that's the direction the NBA and their teams have agreed to, even if that means this second half is going to be kind of overloaded with games. That's just going to be what it is. Now, what is also, I think, important is when you look at all this stuff, it is the teams they're starting to put some of the games back on the schedule, and they've changed a few around. I think we'll see a little bit more of that over the next month as we lead up to the All-Star break. But we're getting down to it, and it's probably going to be a tight second half. And if they can add any time to the end, if there's a lot more games to be made up, that probably is going to really be driven by if we're going to have an Olympics or not.
I'm curious, Keith, if we get to the point where the end of the first half comes, and let's say you're down 3 games, do we just forget that and start the second half? We're not going to try to make up in the second half, first half games, are we?
Yeah, no, I think they are. I think they have every
really?
intention of getting everybody to that 72 games, one for the competitive balance standpoint, and then I think they also want to make sure that they fulfill those TV contracts, because for the vast majority of teams, it's generally right around the 70 game marker is where they fulfill their local regional TV deals. So that I think you're going to see them push to try to get all those games in, and there is still a hope in several markets that by the time we get to maybe April, May, they may be able to be even up to a quarter full with fans in the arenas. That's what they're hoping for. So they're not going to give up any games unless they really have to.
Keith, tonight in the NBA, I would suggest pound for pound, one of the really competitive, great cards of the year, great schedules of the year, just 5 games, but a lot of intrigue in some or all of them. Jazz at Hawks, 16-5 Jazz, 10-11 Hawks. Hawks improve. Warriors at Mavs. Anytime you can watch Doncic, anytime you can watch Steph, and anytime you can watch the Warriors, that's good, and they need to start playing better. Trailblazers at 76ers, Rockets, Grizzlies here in Memphis, and late tonight, I think a classic. Denver and the Lakers, and I'm going to say it, 2 best players in the league playing in that game.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I'm assuming you're saying Jokic and LeBron, but you could maybe even throw Anthony Davis into that mix too, if you really wanted to. He's been playing pretty well himself. But yeah, it's a good night. The thing that I'm struggling with a little bit is the way the schedule fell out, because they're still trying to give TNT some level of exclusivity on their night. You're getting these overly jammed nights with 10, 11, 12, sometimes 13 games on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and that's getting really kind of tricky. So that gives us these nights. But the thing I like best is it's kind of a nice spread of games too. You don't have them all. You don't have 5-6 games starting all at 8 p.m. Here on the East Coast, which is then that makes it almost impossible to keep up with everything.
As you look, this far through the season, and you take a look at the Grizzlies in the Western Conference and where they stand and how they've played, are they one of the better of the stories so far in the league? I mean, they right now would be the 5th seed if the playoffs began.
Yeah, just like last year, it's one of the more fun surprises. And I was, you guys know, I was of the mindset of they're not going to sneak up on anybody this year. They may take a step back, and then that'll be okay, because it should be a small step back, but they may actually play better. But they've played really, really well, and I think what drives that is they bring a consistent effort every single night. There's very much a workman-like approach to that team. We're going to go, we're going to defend, we're going to make life difficult on you. It's probably going to be close games, but we'll be right there. It'll be down in to the very end, and we trust in John Morant to make plays for us to win. And then, but you look on top of it, that they're doing all of this without Jaren Jackson Jr. That's even more impressive. That at some point, if they can just kind of, let's say, keep this going, and they're right around 500, maybe slightly above 500, then you get him back in the lineup. That's a nice boost. That's almost going to be like a trade deadline acquisition for them. And then if they can get anything at all from Justice Winslow, so much the better. So I think Memphis is pretty sustainable with this start they're off to.
So are you saying
the trade deadline
they'll make the playoffs? Give me your quick prognostication this early in the year.
It's going to be close. I think they'll at least be in the play-in at this point, unless the wheels really come off. I think they'll at least be in the play-in, which means somewhere 7-10. Because I do think Phoenix may pass them, Portland could pass them, but the rest of the team, they're right on par with all the rest of them.
Keith, at the trade deadline, do you think the Grizzlies will be active pursuers of adding?
I think they'll be active. I certainly don't think they're going to be in a seller mode. I don't think they've got really any of the pieces to sell. Last year, that was kind of Andre Iguodala was that piece. But I think they'll be active, looking for help. They could use a little bit more depth, especially on the wing. That's still a spot that's a little bit of trouble for them, because their only real true kind of wing on the roster right now is Dylan Brooks, and then Desmond Bane. The other guys are like Kyle Anderson's probably more of a 4 who you can get by with at the 3. All the rest of the guys are guards that are maybe you can play them on the wing a little bit more. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're active. I think they've got the kind of front office that's always going to be looking around to see what they can do. But I don't know that they're in a position right now to make a huge kind of home run swing. I think that's probably more of an off season or maybe even next year type of move.
I think the additions will be Winslow and Triple J, and that would be unbelievable. And don't forget they've played a little bit here without Valanciunas too, and still we're winning. I know they lost to Indy the last time out, and that was on the road and third night. In a third game in 4 nights, so I think they were a little tired and a back-to-back. So we'll get a better impression tonight, especially against a Houston team that, Keith, I want you to sort of explain to me. They get rid of James Harden, or he rids himself of them, and they win, I think it was 6 in a row. I know they got pounded the last time out by the Thunder, but 6 in a row before that. So what's going on with them?
Yeah, it seems like your classic addition by subtraction there. Everybody's happier. Everybody is slotted into a role that makes a lot more sense for them. When John Wall is able to play, he is able to really kind of function more. He's almost a little bit of a dying breed as a pure point guard. Now, he can score some, but he's really a playmaker first, and those kind of guys don't necessarily exist at that position. The playmaking has kind of been spread and farmed out to other positions across every team's roster, but then you've got Oladipo, he's your classic two-guard. Christian Wood is playing fantastic. P.J. Tucker's doing his thing. And then they've actually got pretty good depth. Eric Gordon, when healthy, is still a pretty good player. Daniel House can do some stuff. DeMarcus Cousins, after a really rough start to the year, has bounced back. So they've got a nice team. And the question is going to be, is hanging around 10 and being in the play-in enough for them? Or are they going to, if that's the position they're in, are they going to look to flip Victor Oladipo before the trade deadline and, bring in more assets in place there and build on what they got back in the Harden trade? Because it doesn't, unless you're fairly certain you're going to re-sign him, I don't know that just making an appearance in the play-in tournament is going to be enough for that ownership group.
1 through 4 in the West feels like, I don't know if it'll fall like it is today, but it feels like that those 4 teams will be in the mix to sort out 1 through 4. Then 5 through, even in that last play-in spot in the West, it could get wild, and the play-in tournament will show in the first year that it was worth trying to keep those markets and those teams involved in a year that has been challenging for all.
Yeah, absolutely. That brings a whole new dynamic to really everything with this, because normally by the time you get to the trade deadline, teams that are in, let's say, 11th place and back are generally, they're probably out of it, or they're more willing to say, at best, we'd have to catch fire to make a run and get into the 8th seed. Now you're going to have teams looking at it and saying, well, if we can get to 10, that, can be, win that game, then we only get to win one more, and now we're a playoff team. And then if you're looking at the top of the conference, if it's not the Lakers or the Clippers, maybe we could get lucky and take down the Jazz or Nuggets. And that's where I think you're going to start seeing teams really start to look at things in a slightly different lens, because I think teams are going to reprioritize, which will make for a really interesting trade deadline, because I think there's going to be a lot more buyers than sellers, which means the handful of teams that could be sellers could really do themselves a favor by moving on, because, one, this isn't a bad year to bottom out. There's not fans in most buildings anyway, and you're certainly not filling up the building. It's a fantastic draft class, and your package you can demand is probably bigger because you're going to be one of only a few sellers on the market.
There's a lot of reasons why I love them with the 10 slots, because now you're going to try to stay in the race longer, too. So the games toward the end of the season, when sometimes you really stop playing, you're going to continue to play. So with that in mind, I'm going to look beyond the 10, because in 10th in the West right now are the Rockets that are playing the Grizz tonight. They're 500. Then you've got Sacramento is 11, and they're 1 under 500. Oak City is 12, 2 under 500. Then the Mavericks, which I think they're a surprise the other way than the Grizzlies, disappointing, at 9 and 13. The Pelicans probably the same way at 8 and 12. And then the Timberwolves with as bad a record as anybody in the league. They and the Pistons are both 5 and 16. Out of those that I just mentioned, Sacramento, Oak City, Dallas, the Pelicans, the Timberwolves. Which are the teams that are just done already? Forget about it.
Minnesota for sure. I think they're out of it. It's hard to make up that ground. They're already 4.5 games back, and we got to remember this is only a 72 game season,
right.
So losing those 10 games really makes it hard on a team to make up ground like they normally would. So I think they're out of it. I think New Orleans and Dallas maybe still have a run in them. I want to believe in the Mavericks. I was very high on them beginning of the year. I think Sacramento has proven they're probably going to hang right around where they're at all season long. I think Oklahoma City, this is now even though they won the other night, they're only 4-6 in their last 10. We're starting to see them kind of be more of what we expected. And I think there's a good chance that if they can get anything positive for George Hill or Al Horford or any of the other, guys on their roster that aren't Shea Gilgeous-Alexander and a couple of the other youngsters, they're going to move on from those guys, which will push them lower. So give me Minnesota and Oklahoma City, definitely. And then I'm cautiously optimistic on Dallas, New Orleans, and I think Sacramento's right where they're at all season.
Okay. Before we let you go.
If
go ahead.
I'm correct, Keith, you have New England roots, right?
I do, yeah. I grew up just south of Boston.
Okay, that's good.
I thought so. And covered the Celtics. Before we get to your Super Bowl prediction, do you have any less love? I won't even not contempt for Brady, not in the Pats uniform, and in New England sports lore. Who's number one?
To answer the first part, I do not have any less love for him. He still remains my favorite athlete that I was really there for his entire run of his career. He gave us 20 fantastic years as Patriots fans. The Patriots are how I stay connected to a lot of my friends back home, and he gave that to me because living away from home for so long, that's been cool. Me and my dad talk every game at halftime and after every game, and it was 20 years of grousing about 13-3 seasons, and those kind of things. To the second part, he's right up there. If you were doing a Mount Rushmore, it's probably him, Ted Williams, Larry Bird, and Bobby Orr. I think they're your top 4 guys.
I'm so glad, Keith, because I was going to
No
throw
Bill
out
Russell.
Bobby
Wow.
Orr, but no Bill Russell. And I'll tell you who else you don't have in there is Yaz.
No Yaz.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the challenge with Bill Russell is I think it's so far removed for so many fans. And as great as he was, that early NBA history doesn't have that draw of that early baseball history. Kids still grow up hearing about Babe Ruth in that. He's still a kind of larger than life here, and I think that's where Ted Williams is. But if you want to replace Bird with Bill Russell, I think that's absolutely fine. No one, I think, would question that. And that's my own bias creeping in because Larry Bird was my first favorite player ever, and he remains my favorite basketball player of all time.
All right, so we know you got Brady bias, and you also have this regional Florida bias. So I got a feeling we are going to get a Tampa Bay Buccaneer guy here. I will tell you the majority has been Kansas City. So tell us who wins and what's the final score, Keith Smith.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. I cannot pick against Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski. Those are my guys. So I'm gonna go with the Bucs, and I will say 24-20, and it comes right down to the end.
Whoa! So
you got it.
They win a close one. I hope it's that way. I hope it is a Super Bowl that keeps me on the edge of my seat the whole game. Thank you, Keith. As always, we appreciate it. We'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Have a good one. Stay safe.
That is Keith Smith from Yahoo Sports. He's brought to you in part, but this whole hour of our show is brought to you by Genesis of Olive Branch and Homer Skelton Hyundai. Same building, same people, a team that have been put together and have performed for 13 straight years. They've literally raised the bar with the way car business should be done. We start with the product, and the Genesis cars and the Hyundais, well, they're superb. They're superior technology. So good, you get a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty with every new car And because they want to take care of you, you get a 3-year, 36,000-mile maintenance package with every new Hyundai and with every new Genesis. And when it comes to Genesis, boy, they take care of you. They'll bring the cars to your house for a test drive, and they've got G70s, G80s, G90s. They just keep delivering. They still can't keep the new van, the SUV, the GV80. Can't keep it on the lot. But they've got one to test drive if you'd like to check that out. Call Vinny Gerard. He'll bring it to you, or you can go see them straight on Lamar into Mississippi, exit first 1, Craft Road. Turn left and go see all the guys who've raised the bar. The way car business should be done, you'll see it at Homer Skelton Hyundai and Genesis of Olive Branch. We take a break. More on the Super Bowl. Our analyst, guy who played in Super Bowls, that would be Russell Copeland. He comes your way in just a minute.
Get happy with Sports 56 Happy Hour with Johnny Radio. Weekday afternoons from 1 to 3 on Sports 56, 98.5, and 96.1.
It's February. Hi, this is John Conway with Conway Services. Are you considering replacing your air conditioning system this spring? Conway Services and Carrier have teamed up to make now the perfect time to replace that old energy guzzling system. February is one of our slowest months of the year. Our warehouse is full and our crews are slow. So to spark business during these slow winter months, Conway Services is giving away Carrier 80% gas furnaces absolutely free with the purchase of a standard Carrier air conditioning system. That's right, purchase a Carrier air conditioning system during the month of February and get a gas furnace for free. If that's not enough, we'll include an April air cleaner, 10-year parts warranty, and a free Nest thermostat, plus 12 months interest free. See why I call it February? And you know with Conway Services, you'll be receiving our award-winning service every time. So call Conway Services, the Mid-South's premier heating, cooling, plumbing, and electric service company today, and the first 30 callers with a 10-year-old heating and air conditioning system will come out and inspect it absolutely free.
Call 384-3511. Conway Services. Call Conway today.
Do not wait for summer. Get your pool now during the early bird pool sale at Family Leisure through February the 7th. You can reserve your installation spot on your new pool purchase from Family Leisure. You know the prices like the temperature. They'll go up when it gets warmer, so you must reserve yours now. Family Leisure has hundreds of spas on order, so reserve yours now. The early bird pool sales happening now at Family Leisure, Whidden Road at I-40, where family and fun come together.
Taqueria Express number 6 has a new location, 6290 Winchester Road. Taqueria Express has tacos of all kinds, including chicken and sirloin, beef fajitas, shrimp fajitas, enchiladas with homemade tortillas, even chicken wings. And my favorite is the mango sauce, which goes great with a nice cold beer. You can dine in and take advantage of the full bar or get your order to go. Call ahead, 901-800-2737 to pick up or use the drive-thru. Ask how you can win a 2021 Nissan Versa. Taqueria Express.
It's that time of year again. Time for the big game and time for taxes. David Nanny, CPA, can help you with both. He's sponsoring this year's big game coverage on Sports 56, and David and his team have all the experience you need for all your tax filing needs, too. Whether it's a return for an individual or for a small business, give him a call today. 901-763-2000. That's 901-763-2000. David Nanny, CPA for you.
Is your bank standing in the way of you and your sportsbook? Try Action 24/7. We're cutting out the middleman. Deposit or withdrawal in cash. No more bank delays or failures. Action 24/7 has more than 100 partners in Tennessee for cash deposits and withdrawals. Visit action247.com for a location. Cash deposits and withdrawals from your Tennessee sportsbook. Action247.com. You got action.
Must be 21 or older and in Tennessee. For problem gambling support, call 800-889-9789.
Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Ocean and Brett Norsworthy.
Welcome back in. We do want to thank David Nanny, CPA, for bringing us the big game. You will hear it right here. Also, lots of stuff going on. You got Ole Miss and Auburn on Saturday coming up. That pregame, by the way, for the Super Bowl on Sunday. It starts at 1 o'clock, so get a good start all the great announcers.
1 o'clock Saturday or Sunday?
No, it's Sunday. Sunday. It seems like it's Saturday.
I kid.
But, yeah.
I think it's great stuff. I could listen to Jim Gray do anything.
Yeah, and the other guy from Westwood that just did the promo, when you hear his voice, like you know it's a big game.
Scott's great.
Yeah.
And that crew, and then when they throw it over to Kevin Harlan, he's big game Kevin Harlan. Kevin Harlan's calling it. It matters.
Oh, yeah. What a great job he's got.
When we go through the best play-by-play guys, when we go through the best play-by-play guys in American sport, I think Kevin Harlan is way up there.
You know, I don't think he quite gets the recognition that he should, because he's really not the number one guy on any television.
That's
network.
right.
But
that's right. He's kind of Mr. Swiss Army knife.
He is, but I would take his gigs because he's going to do a conference final if he doesn't do the championship game. And if he does the championship game like the Super Bowl, that'll be on radio. So it really doesn't matter.
Right.
He's still doing it.
He's there on Monday night. He's there on Sunday for the network.
He's every big basketball game except for the championship series, because that network he's not a part of.
I think he's Westwood. I think he's Westwood guy that night on our station, isn't he, Drew? I think he
Does he do the NBA championship series for Westwood?
I believe
no. They don't do NBA.
No,
that's all ESPN.
That's owned by ESPN, so he does not do that.
He does college basketball,
but he does NCAA tournament. He does.
Oh, yeah, but he does
one shiny moment game.
Does he do the championship game on Westwood?
Yeah,
I thought Kevin Kugler did that.
No, he's there for a lot of big moments, and just having met him and visited with him some, I bet he's okay if they forget about me. Whatever.
I think his life is a really good life. And I do too. And I think
I like
everybody I've ever talked to about him, and he started with Kansas City, and I know a bunch of people from Kansas City, and they just say he is a sweetheart of a man. He really is.
And Rob Fisher was a Chiefs fan and a Chiefs season ticket holder, I think, in that stretch, and said it was just a symphony to listen to him. That he was and beloved, and and then he catapulted that into even more stardom and fun listen.
Speaking of sweethearts of guys, Russell Copeland is one of those really good dudes, and of course played in the Super Bowl and has just done a great job for us all year long, analyzing all of the play. I want to start with this story because I find it intriguing. The Kansas City Chiefs had a line ready to get haircuts. They had a barber come in who, right in the middle of the line, ended up with a positive test for COVID. I just want to know, Russell, when you were playing in the NFL and you were getting ready for big games or a Super Bowl, did y'all go to the same barber?
Well, things have changed, a whole lot. I saw some things last year in basketball when they were in the bubble that I saw how things were prepared for them as far as taking care of their hair and certain things such as that. So it has changed tremendously since I played in the Super Bowl in '94, but it was the '93 season. But they were very fortunate, and it's just one of those times that we're living in, guys. And from my understanding, the barber had 5 consecutive days of testing negative, and his last day it came up. So, it's the days that we're living in, but I think, he was going to take care of the guys that need a haircut, so they wouldn't go out in the public and go to different places to get some things done and try to keep things in the house. And fortunately they caught it, but it's just the day and times that we're living in.
Boy, you got that right, Russell. These are sometimes. You got to watch everything, and it feels like the game's going to go off. I think the NFL made the announcement today, I want to be exact about this, even with Sunday announcement of positivities from quarterbacks, they play. Game goes on.
Well, guys, that just shows you it's a quarterback-driven league, right? And it's about the big matchups. And I think, can you imagine if it comes back that neither one of these quarterbacks can play? What does it do for all of the excitement and everything that's been boosting this game together? I don't think it's something that should be done, but we understand, it's about the money. It's about the big show. It's the Super Bowl. And, unfortunately, they have made that decision. For me, I would look at safety first, but, it is what it is.
When you think of Tom Brady and realize that when he takes his first snap, he'll have played in 18% of every Super Bowl ever played, 10 games. And knowing what you know and having a guy in his second game in 3 years in a young guy named Patrick Mahomes, and do you ever think we'll see a guy playing 10 Super Bowls again?
Honestly, Dave, I do not. And just like you alluded to, I mean, in 18 seasons, Tom Brady, as a starter, 50% of his Super Bowls, he's won 33% of it. And I think whether he wins this game or loses this game, his legacy is cemented. And when you look at Patrick Mahomes, I think when you look at the excitement is that he's doing it in reverse. And when I mean that he's doing it in reverse is that usually you see an outstanding player, quarterback, he may do it in the middle of his career. He may do it towards the end of his career. Once he has everything established going out like John Elway, he had a lot of success towards the end. And now when you look at Patrick Mahomes, 25 years of age, and now this is his second Super Bowl consecutively, and he went 3 years in a row to the championship, I think that's why. But if he loses this game, he has no chance to me of going to 10 and surpassing 6 wins, in my opinion.
Hey, Tom Brady's played on Sunday. He will have played in 5 of the last 7 Super Bowls at an age most everybody is already getting knees and hips replaced. Russell,
I think we'll appreciate what he has done over his career. I think even after he has played, I think you have to look at New England, what he was able to do in New England. You have to look at his body of work, being a 6th-round draft pick, not being a full-time starter at Michigan. It seemed like he came in the back door because the way his career has come out and played out, we probably would have thought it would have been Peyton Manning. Of all of his brilliancy, his family, him being the number 1 overall pick. But when you look at Tom Brady, I think one reason why he constantly plays is that he remembers being a 6th-round draft pick. He remembers even after winning Super Bowls, he still does not have the accolades that he should have at some point in time. So he has that chip on his shoulder. And at 43 years old, he's taking care of his body, and now he's going to the 10th Super Bowl. And it's just amazing, such as LeBron James. LeBron James went to 9 straight finals. And when you look at that, that's just unbelievable. So it shows his character. It shows how he takes care of his body, but it shows his leadership to be able to go from the AFC and say you can't get back without Bill Belichick. Now you go into the NFC in your first year in a conference where Aaron Rodgers has only been to 1 and Drew Brees has only been to 1, and you take a team your first year, a team that's been at the very bottom of the barrel, it says a whole lot.
I've had a lot of avocado dip with guacamole, but I've never had an avocado milkshake. Either you guys ever gone crazy with an avocado milkshake?
No, and I love avocado. I do. I love guacamole. I will hopefully have some on Sunday if my wife will do that, and she might. But no, no.
Not in a milkshake form.
No.
No.
You don't need milk with avocado. You got to put a little hot sauce in there, some onion, maybe, a little pepper, a little Tabasco.
Yeah.
Come on. You don't need milk, for goodness sake. I know we've debated this before. And by the way, Tom Brady could play. He says he wants to play till he's 45. Maybe he goes to 12 Super Bowls to add to that. But did we really learn that Tom Brady didn't need Belichick and that Belichick needed Brady? And do you find any truth in that? Because we debated that a bunch over the last 2 years.
And honestly, guys, I think when you look at it, I think it's evenly matched. I think it was a match made in heaven from Kraft, the owner, that absolutely was an owner, and he allowed his coach/general manager to be able to take care of his money, to get the right guys and be able to coach a team the way he wanted. And he had a quarterback, and it lasted 18 years. I think at the end of the day, now we can go back and say, well, he did it without Belichick. I think it's 2 separate things, but we'll always talk about it. But what's different to me, guys, about Tom Brady going to another conference and getting to the championship is that he's 43 years old. Yes, he's playing great for 43. But I just look at this Tampa Bay team as a team that has gotten to the Super Bowl, because I remember when they were 7-5, and we talked about it on the show. It didn't look like they were coming together. Thought they would be coming together a lot sooner. And the last 4 games, they brought it together, and they're in the playoffs. But their defense has bailed Tom Brady out numerous times during the season. He has played great in some games. Other games he has not. So I just think it's different. This Super Bowl is totally different from the 2006, 2007, the year that he went undefeated in the regular season. It's just different.
All right, Russell, break it down for us and tell us how Super Bowl 55 ends late Sunday night.
Well, I'm going to go with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and I pretty much talked about their defense. I think their defense is going to have to be able to put pressure on Patrick Mahomes and see if they can take advantage of their tackle situations not being able to play. And the biggest thing for me, for them, their adjustments is how do you play the weapons that they have, Kelsey, and also how do you play the speedster on the outside? And I think that they have to mix up coverages outstanding, and it's going to be a big challenge for them. But they have to run the football. They have to be able to get pressure on Mahomes and make him make some mistakes, and they have to make a long game. That's a lot to do when you're playing in the Super Bowl. Can it be done? Yes, but it's going to be difficult. When I look at the Kansas City Chiefs, I look at them saying, hey, even when they're behind, it seems like they're winning. It seems like there's not enough points for them not to be able to come back from. I think they're the most athletic team. I think they have the best quarterback in the league. I think they have the best coaching staff in the league. And I think their defense can make enough plays for them. They always seem to be underrated and make enough plays. I just like Kansas City. I just think they have too many weapons, and I think they can make mistakes and win. I think Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers nearly have to play perfect to win this game.
What do you see as the final score in this game?
Honestly, guys, I'm going to go on a limb. I think it actually could be a blowout. Honestly, I got them winning by 14 points. I got Kansas City Chiefs winning by 14 points. Give me 38-14, something like that.
Now, I'm sorry,
38-20? Or 38, you said 14 points?
Yeah, I say it's more like 38-20, 24, something around there. But it may be a blowout.
Right,
and I think, 38-24.
38-24 could be a blowout. You know, one thing that's interesting that you brought up, and I thought about this, I think Kansas City always is in a position, especially if it's only like 3.5 points, which is what this Super Bowl is, to come back and cover. I mean, they were down. What were they down? Were they down 24 points last year in the AFC Championship game
against the Texans? Yes.
And not only did they come back and win the game, they covered. So you're talking about a team that absolutely can come back from any score and still cover. So that makes a lot of sense to me. But you're really saying 38-24, Kansas City wins by 14, 2 touchdowns. So that is the biggest endorsement thus far. And frankly, other than Jeff Moore, all the other folks that have picked the Buccaneers have done that because there is some sort of bias that is involved, whether it's regional or they work for the team. So, wow, the vast majority seems to be going. What is it? 70? What did you say earlier today when you counted up all the ESPN guys? 74% believe in the Chiefs in this game, right? Stats?
Yeah. 69 out of 93 pickers, 69-24, so 74%. Everybody picking Kansas City. And in Tom Brady's Super Bowl wins, in his 6 wins, he's won by an average of 5 points. This won't be a 13-3 game like 2 years ago, Russell.
Yeah, and then, guys, you know, the reason why I'm looking at that, and I'm looking at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers coming from behind to even bring the score down closer. And when I'm looking at the playoffs, and I'm looking at Tom Brady, and we know how great he is, but it's two different things. When you look at when he played against the Saints, you know, his defense bailed him out. He only had 199 yards passing. Defense kept him in the game, got 4 turnovers. When you look at the Green Bay Packers, he looked great in the first half, but he threw 3 picks in the second half. And the Packers could not take advantage of that. I don't see Patrick Mahomes throwing 3 interceptions, and I do not see this team that comes out and they come out of the scoreboard and they come out running. You almost can put 35, 40 points on the board. I think that they have to play a perfect game, and I just don't think it's going to be enough. I think it's going to be a shootout, and I think Tom Brady and them are going to have to be one-dimensional because they're going to be behind by so many points.
So we're going to make our picks tomorrow, but here's the thing that troubles me. So I'm part of that, 26% that wonder a little bit about Tampa. And so you can alleviate me of these fears, Russell Copeland, but Kansas City's top 2 tackles that started for them for the vast majority of this year are not playing in this Super Bowl, including the left tackle. that would worry me a little bit. You know, if you don't have time, you tend to make those mistakes to throw those interceptions you just mentioned.
Well, Dave, you don't make it this far. You haven't went to 3 consecutive AFC championships. You're not the head coach of Andy Reid in a great organization if you don't have backups. But I understand what you're saying from a starter. But you got Patrick Mahomes, and I think he is sneaky athletic. What I'm saying, he can elude in the pocket. He can step up in the pocket. He has a quick release. He can get outside the pocket. He has the best receivers that can scramble. He got some guys that you can hit on a home run pass. He doesn't need a whole lot of time with the weapons that he has. He can go to the quick passing game. He can go to the crossing route. He can get man-to-man coverage and be able to hit Kelsey up the middle or be able to hit Tyreek Hill. We're talking about one of the most explosive wide receivers in the game. And when you look at when they played earlier, Tyreek Hill had over 200 yards in the first quarter. He ended up with, I think, 269 yards total.
That's true. That is true.
You know, they just have so many ways to beat you. That's why it's so difficult for me to pick against them, because they can beat you so many different ways.
All right. You got big plans for the big day?
No, not really, guys. You know how I am with COVID and everything. I'm just going to stay around the house, man. My wife is going to cook some stuff for me, and I may have, one of my cousins to come over. We'll social distance, and I'll just enjoy the game with my family, my immediate family, but I'm not going to do anything major.
Well, you enjoy for sure. We'll wrap up the year next week. We appreciate it, Russell. And enjoy the game. We got you down 38-14. The Kansas 38-24. I'm sorry, you're right. 38-24. The Kansas City Chiefs win back-to-back Super Bowls since the Patriots did that 17 years ago. Thank you, Russell.
Thank you, guys.
This portion of the show brought to you by Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions, and there's more to Brian Elder than just roofing solutions now. Chris Price is now involved. That's call me, Chris. And these are the two best guys to talk to. Not just roofing anymore, but now if you would like to contract them for some sort of fix-up, could be a remodel of some kind, whatever it may be, they are now doing projects for you beyond just roofing. And they'll still have the same no questions asked warranty. They'll still only use the very, very best when it comes to equipment. That's the way they do it. They always use the latest technology. They know your home is the most valuable asset you've got. And that's why, whether it's a roof or a remodel, they're the company for you to choose. They'll come out. They'll give you a free consult. That's the best thing. They can measure your roof from outer space, but they'd rather come and talk with you. And by the way, if it's still roofing and it's a major deal, let them look first. They'll contact the insurance company for you. 867-0303. 901-867-0303. Commercial residential roofing. And now they'll do a fix-up for you, too. Brian Elder Roofing Solution. We wrap up this second hour on a rainy Thursday on Sports Time on Sports 56 right after this.
Same great shows.
We welcome you back to Sports 56 Middays. What's up? It's Sports 56 Happy Hour.
A new spot on the FM dial. Check out Sports 56 on our new FM home at 98.5.
I'm here with the great Pat Donahue from the Rendezvous Restaurant Shipping Department.
Thanks, Brett. We've been shipping our ribs all over the country now for decades from our USDA-inspected shipping kitchen in the Pinch District. We hand-cook our ribs in pits that Mr. Charlie built over charcoal, just like they do at the restaurant.
So what comes in a rib box?
We could do pork shoulder, we could do ribs, our sauce, seasoning, baked beans, coleslaw. We'll even throw in Pancho's cheese dip with our nacho boxes. We also put a bag of Rendezvous seasoned popcorn, heating instructions, some chef hats, some wet naps, and some other helpful tips from our kitchen. We ship our ribs overnight, exclusively FedEx. When we put them in nice packaging, we don't ever want to use styrofoam, so we use corrugated cardboard, actually 2 boxes that fit nice together, so the ribs get to you, your loved ones, or your clients in a safe, wholesome manner. Rendezvous ribs are perfect for out-of-town clients, customers, loved ones. We also ship ribs for any occasion.
Where do we order these great ribs?
You can go to www.hogsfly.com or give us a call at 1-888-464-7359.
Charlie Burgos' Rendezvous Restaurant in the alley since 1948.
Times are certainly uncertain. In fact, the return of food shortages is likely. Don't take chances. Make the decision to acquire a dependable supply of long-lasting emergency food. Food that lasts for up to 25 years in storage, ready the moment you need it. There's an old saying, failing to plan means planning to fail. Don't wait for the next crisis. Have a 3-month, 6-month, or even 1-year supply of food on hand. It's easy and affordable. We're My Patriot Supply, America's leader in emergency preparedness. We've served millions of folks like you for over a decade, and our mission is your survival. Our meals are delicious and provide you with 2,000 calories a day, and our kits arrive quickly and discreetly at your doorstep. Visit MyPatriotSupply.com and feast your eyes on the food that could save your life someday. That's MyPatriotSupply.com. Take the pressure off yourself. Go to MyPatriotSupply.com and face the future without regrets.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
2021 is finally here. Might I suggest we start the wonderful new year with a makeover for your beautiful house. I'm Brian Elder. I'm a roofer. I fix roofs. Don't let them tell you that it has to be replaced when all it may need is some love. 867-0303. Let me love on your roof. I've made quite the reputation over the last decade as the guy to call after the insurance company denies the claim. Overturning a claim that has gone bad is an art form where you argue county code, manufacturer specs, and details of your policy that they have to abide by. So let me see it first. If I say it's a claim, it's a claim. 867-0303. Money is free at Brian Elder Roofing with 0% financing for half a decade. I'll measure your roof from outer space and get you a quote right over the phone. 867-0303 or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Welcome back in. The SEC made a staggering announcement today. Despite all of the issues with COVID-19 that affected many revenue streams, the SEC managed to I'm sorry. Wondering what was going on there. Okay. The SEC, now that I've gone out of that story, because apparently I was getting a tape recording of it, and I apologize for that. I couldn't figure out what that was. They went up fractionally to, I think it was $729 or $730 million of total revenue. That is up from the year before, and the distribution is $45.5 million per team. So despite that, the revenue stream of tickets was lost, and I'm sure some people didn't donate as much as they normally would because they didn't sort of feel the same sense of family, maybe, because they couldn't be a part of it the same way.
Wouldn't be getting what they're paying for.
Right. And you know, that was shocking, I must say. Laird Veach told us last night on television that 85% of the football tickets that were bought and donations that were made for football, 85% of the people that donated just said keep the money, which was astonishing to me. And I for one, appreciate their passion. I truly do. But even with those other things down other places, the SEC actually made more money in the COVID than they did the year before. That's astonishing to me.
I'm still trying to track down the exact number. I've had some different numbers told to me, but I was told that the SEC gave every member institution, all 14, a healthy, a large sum of just a one-time, here, make it through tough times. The
really?
Two places,
wow,
Florida and Georgia, both said we don't need it. Georgia had a $300 million rainy day fund. That is smart.
My
Greg
Lord.
McGarity and that Georgia athletics department, that is smart. There were other places that didn't have two pennies to rub together in a rainy day fund. But Florida and Georgia said, we don't need it. The league said, take it.
That's amazing.
Keep it.
So wait,
just and don't lay anybody else off, and don't act broke. Keep it and keep rolling.
So just to clarify, you're saying that the league office gave each school, on top of this $45.5 million, another lump sum and just said, we know some of you are hurting, take the money.
That's it.
Wow. What a league.
Stimulus
What
check.
a league. Yeah. Greg Sankey made the federal decision. Here's money for you. stimulus package. Wow. Honestly, that's incredible.
I wonder if he made him put it on the check, Greg Sankey stimulus check.
Now, I say this in total admiration, but you see what other schools are up against when here's a school like Georgia and Florida with this big rainy day fund of $300 million and getting a lump sum, which they don't even want, and the league is saying, no, we want you to take it, and you've got schools like the University of Memphis that bring it. So that's $45.5 million. They may bring $4.5 million in, and they had to take a loan during the pandemic in order to stay in business.
Because there's just nowhere else to cut.
No, I understand. It's just phenomenal, the differences that there are between the haves and the have-nots, and those that are trying to survive. And Memphis is not even at the bottom end. I mean, Memphis is in a good position compared to if you were still in CUSA or you were a Sun Belt school or things of that nature, where their television revenues are even less. And most of those still have pretty good-sized budgets just to try to stay in business.
And it's why it's so important, and the Tigers they're perfectly positioned for the next round of realignment and reshuffle, and they bring a lot to the table, and I think will be a very attractive institution and a member institution to a lot in school and competitor to a lot of people. But, Dave, I think after that round of realignment, you're not going to see FBS football played by 131 teams. I think you'll really see it pare down maybe to the Jackie Sherrill model.
Which was 16 teams. 80 teams.
Five leagues.
5 leagues with 80
16
teams.
times 5.
Yeah, that's where I was going. 16 teams per league, 5 leagues. And maybe that's the way it ends up. And we know, 2 hours in the books. When we come back, we will talk more Super Bowl. We'll talk with Todd Lebo from WHB in Kansas City, Missouri. The Super Bowl front and center comes your way in a minute.
If you need glass replaced, there's only one name you need to know. Ben Swinger Glass, the largest full-service glass company in the U.S. They've been an industry leader for over 125 years. For all your residential, commercial, or auto glass needs, Ben Swinger Glass is the name you need to know. 24-hour emergency service for all commercial customers, plus a nationwide warranty on all professionally installed glass. 2 Memphis locations, 1 in Midtown
on Hollywood Street across from the Liberty Bowl,
and 1 in Cordova
off Germantown Parkway next to the Fox and Hound.
Visit their website, benswingerglass.com. Ben Swinger Glass.
Hey, we understand. With everything that's happening, with all the new regulations, maybe you're not ready to come and hang out at Sweetgrass to catch a ball game. We want you to, we really do, and we're open for you to do just that. But we're also offering the next best thing, the new Sweetgrass Tailgate Party Packs. Whether it's wings, house-made dips, sliders, or other Sweetgrass tasty treats, all you have to do is call us or go to sweetgrassmemphis.com to order just what you're dreaming of when you're dreaming of watching sports and enjoying some sweet, sweet Sweetgrass.
Celebrate the 55th edition of the big game with exclusive 55-1 odds on FanDuel Sportsbook. And if you've never tried FanDuel before, new users can bet on either team and get 55-1 odds when the Chiefs play the Buccaneers. That's right. You can bet $5 and win $275 if you pick the winner of the big game on February 7th. I've been betting football on FanDuel all season long because, well, it's really easy to use. It's easy to get started. When you sign up, just use promo code BIGHEAD to get started. It's easy to deposit. It's easy to find your bet. And when you win, FanDuel pays your winnings in as little as 24 hours. Great odds boost, great specials. And of course, for those of you that have been around for a while and you know exactly what you're doing when you're betting, download the FanDuel Sportsbook app. And again, use that promo code BIGHEAD to get started. That's FanDuel Sportsbook, promo code BIGHEAD. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. New users only. Must wager on designated boost market. Deposit required. Max bonus $275. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com for problem gambling support. Call 1-800-889-9789.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery and setup, dependable service, and no long-term contracts. What an easy choice. Call Jeff Manus today, 901-382-2363, or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now, 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
Listen Sundays at 11 a.m. to join Idlewild Presbyterian Church for worship.
Idlewild is a PCUSA church located in Midtown Memphis.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, W253DF Memphis, and WIVG Tunica Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wallo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
Final hour, and we visit with Todd Lebo from 810 WHB in the city of the Super Bowl champions, trying to go back-to-back. That's in Kansas City. We visit with Todd coming up. Celebrate that 55th edition of the big game with exclusive 55-1 odds on FanDuel Sportsbook. And if you've never tried FanDuel before, new users can bet on either team and get 55-1 odds on Sunday when Kansas City plays Tampa Bay. That's right. You can bet $5 and win $275 just by picking the winner of the big game on Sunday afternoon, February 7th. We've had fun all year at FanDuel. We'll continue into the Super Bowl, into the NCAA tournament, NBA playoffs, and beyond. It's easy to register, easy to deposit, easy to find your bet. FanDuel, they pay your winnings out in as little as 24 hours, and every day, big super boost, and every weekend for sure at FanDuel. Just download the FanDuel Sportsbook app and use promo code CASH to get started. That's FanDuel Sportsbook, promo code CASH. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. New users only. Must wager on designated boost market. Deposit required. Max bonus $275. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. For problem gambling support, call 1-800-889-9789. This hour of our show brought to you every day by DeSoto Auto Sales. They're at 5704 Goodman Road. Visit their website, DeSotoAutosales.com, 662-890-7184. Very proud to serve DeSoto County and the surrounding area. They know we live in a world today that time matters, and that's why they want you to have the ultimate car experience. Walk in, find the car you want, deal with your sales rep, credit approved, paperwork completed, and you're gone in less than 45 minutes in time to do it over your busy lunch hour or like right now, right after work. Unlimited inventory, every make, every model. If it's not on the lot, they'll go out and find it for you at DeSoto Auto Sales. No shortcuts taken. You're treated like family by kind, courteous employees with that laid-back, down-home atmosphere and no high-pressure sales at DeSoto Auto Sales on Goodman Road, 662-890-7184. Come on down for that town and country experience you've come to know and love at DeSoto Auto Sales. We like to go up to Kansas City for that good Kansas City Chiefs feeling, and we visit with Todd Lebo from 810 WHB in Kansas City. Are you in KC, or have you made it to TB yet?
I am staying in Kansas City this year. We sent a couple of guys down to Radio Row, but I was there for 9 days last year in Miami, and I said, I don't need to. I'm good.
Yeah.
If it's going to be weird like this, I'll be just fine back in Kansas City. So we've been running one of our shows. Last year we had 4 shows down there. I mean, it's, I don't even know how much money we spent covering it, but it's just different this year, with the pandemic and, the restrictions. And I don't know if you guys have ever been to Radio Row, but normally there's about 350 stations there. They got about 15 or 16 at a time down there this year. It's really weird.
Yeah.
Super
really
weird.
pared
But
down.
it's been good. We've had a lot of great guests and stuff, but most of them even been on the phone. So it's a weird thing. But we got some guys down there, but it's like, how they treat radio stations. We weren't going to get a credential inside the stadium. So I'm like, I'm fine at home on the TV. It's good with me.
We have every year, for years, been on Radio Row at the Super Bowl. The station has, and it's the first time that was interrupted for that very reason. You're really not going to be able to have the same kind of coverage and be safe or feel good about it as you might have. I guess.
Yeah, the only reason we're there is because the Chiefs are there. We weren't going to go.
Oh yeah.
And we've honestly just really sent our midday show because that's kind of the good time of day. For Eastern time down there, it fits out real nice for our guys to midday show. But it's still funny. Like the handlers are all walking down there organizing interviews. But I think our guys they've probably done 20 interviews. I think only one person has been in person, right? So it's weird. I mean, Radio Row's an odd thing. If you guys have been there, it's just such a weird thing to begin with, and it's just like the pictures of it are amazing. How far apart they've got everyone, and they've got plexiglass for everyone, and X-shaped tables to where you're not sitting right across from each other. They've done a really nice job with it, but they have 40 tables set up, and the most people in there at one time in the whole convention center that they've seen broadcasting is like 14 or 15 stations. It's pretty crazy.
Wow. I guess this question, I don't know if you're old enough, but I'll ask it anyway. Does anybody remember?
I'm 51, so there we go.
So you would remember Len Dawson. Does anybody ever consider Len Dawson as the best quarterback in the history of the Chiefs anymore?
Well, not since about 2 years ago. The second Patrick Mahomes threw 50 touchdowns, they don't. Len is a wonderful man, and he is still a figure in Kansas City. He did broadcast sports television here. He was a sports guy for the ABC affiliate for about 20 some years after his career, and of course people around the nation remember him from inside the NFL. And he was on the Chiefs broadcast till about 5 years ago. So he's still, Len Dawson was still the king of Kansas City from a football side, but yeah, that's over. That ended. That ended when Patrick won an MVP, and it really ended when they won the Super Bowl last year, and it's for sure ended when they're back in it the next year. But there was a long stretch of just kind of good players and never quarterbacks. That was the story in Kansas City. Everyone's cast off, and people like that.
Todd, on Sunday, it's certainly not going to be a defensive game. I'm not calling that. It won't be 13-3 like 2 years ago when Tom Brady beat the Rams. But for Kansas City, they have some defensive players, some really good defensive players, and I think the Buccaneers have more than maybe most people identify with. Do you see any way this game falls into a 20-17 game, a 24-20 game, or do you think it's in the 30s north?
Well, they played 27-24 earlier in the year, and I could see that or a little bit more. I'd be really surprised if it were less than that. But you're exactly right. I think the thing to watch, the Chiefs' offense is very good. They can score points. But, they only scored 22 against the Browns. But Mahomes got hurt in the fourth quarter of that game. So he didn't play the fourth quarter, and they kind of just played it real close to the vest to get there. But the Bills were super hot, and the Chiefs put 30-something on them. It could have been more. And it felt like they were going to score 70 against the Bucs the first time they played them. That was the day that Tyreek Hill had 200 yards in the first quarter. And, but there was a turnover, and it was 17-0, and then it kind of turned into a ball game. But I don't think it'll be a real defensive game like that unless there's some turnovers. The matchup I'm going to watch all day for sure is I love the Bucs defensive line. They've got some veterans. They got some young people, and they're very good. And the Chiefs' offensive line is 100% not what it was 8 weeks ago. Mitchell Schwartz is out. Eric Fisher ruptured his Achilles, so they don't have either starting tackle. That's bad news, right? And Laurent Duvernay-Tardif, the doctor, the French-Canadian doctor, is up. He opted out. So this is not the offensive line that the Chiefs will have that played in the Super Bowl last year. It's going to be a different deal. But the Chiefs are good enough to design some plays and scheme some stuff up, to have some quick throws, and, probably go about it that way. I would look for some screens and things like that for if Tampa's really getting aggressive. But I do love Tampa's defense. And for Chiefs fans, anyone who watches that Devin White play, oh, my gosh, what a player.
Isn't he something?
I guess, a second-year guy. He's exactly what you want when you go draft a linebacker that high. And Levante David's been a really good player for a long time. He was playing Big 12 football when Nebraska was still in the Big 12 back in the day. So they've got a lot of good players in that defense.
I will say I was really most impressed with the secondary. And I can't remember which network was doing the Buffalo game with Kansas City. But whichever one it was, they kept showing that there was nobody open for Josh Allen. Nobody, especially Stephon Diggs. They just took him out of the game. And to me, that may be the biggest area of improvement, that secondary for Kansas City as the year wore on.
Yeah, they've gotten a lot better. L'Jarius Sneed has been a revelation. He was a middle-round draft pick, and they didn't know what he was going to be. And it's pretty funny. A couple of weeks ago, the general manager, Brett Beach, was like, hey, we liked him. That's why we picked him. But if he went back and redrafted the draft, he'd be a first-round draft pick, And they didn't think he was that good, or they'd have picked him in the first round, And Travarius Ward has been very solid. The Middle Tennessee State kid who they kind of got off the scrap heap from Dallas a couple years ago. Right. And Tyrann Mathieu is a real leader. He's really, really come into his own in Kansas City. And, Bruce Arians loves him. He had him in Arizona. Tyrann Mathieu loves Bruce Arians. He loves Andy Reid. I mean, this is those games where there's a lot of connections with some of these staffs and these players that have played for some of these guys. But the Chiefs' defensive backfield has been way better than people thought it would be because they lost Kendall Fuller. He went back free agency-wise to Washington, and that's pretty much what they lost off the Super Bowl team last year. On the defensive side was him, but L'Jarius Sneed's been great. I mean, he's got a sack in 4 straight games. So they find a way to blitz him, and he's got interceptions. He's been just outstanding and was certainly underrated by everyone in the draft because no one would have let him slip later in the draft if they saw how good he was.
Todd, when I watch Devin White play, I swear, and this may be heresy in Kansas City. Don't get me in trouble with anybody, but it's a little reminiscent of how he moves side to side, and then how he can thump. And if he intercepts it, he can turn into fullback. Willie Lanier, old Kansas City Chief, often could do that. And I'm going to go to that vintage of Kansas City defenses. Willie Lanier, Buck Buchanan, Bobby Bell, others. Those 3 I mentioned all went to the Hall of Fame. We know Tom Brady's Hall of Fame status. We know Gronk's Hall of Fame status. I think just with a little more filling in the back of the football card and a little more time, I think we'll know Patrick Mahomes' Hall of Fame status, especially if he wins this Sunday. Any defensive guys for this Kansas City team? Chris Jones, you mentioned Honey Badger. Any of those, will we ever have a Hall of Fame conversation about any defensive guys for Kansas City?
Well, one way to get in the Hall of Fame is win a bunch of Super Bowls. Mm-hmm. We know that. So if this team wins a bunch of Super Bowls, yeah, absolutely, those 2 guys for sure. Because Chris Jones has been very good. Now, he had 15 sacks a few years ago, and he doesn't get that now because he gets triple teamed. I mean, you sit there and watch him play. He gets all the attention of everyone. But if he ends up, he re-signed here in Kansas City, that's something that people didn't think would happen. If someone like him, if they go off and they win 3 Super Bowls or something, and he's a Pro Bowler like 8 times, well, yeah, he's absolutely Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
He's a really special kid, and it was really important for the team to get him back. He was talking today on the Zoom that there was a moment in last year's game in the 3rd quarter. He said he leaned over to Frank Clark and says, "This may be the last time we play together." He said, "We got to go. We may not get this chance again," because he thought he was not going to be a Chief this next year. He was thinking about that during the Super Bowl, but they found a way to get it done because somehow Patrick Mahomes signed a $500 million club-friendly deal. I don't know how they did it. It's all voodoo economics, but they did it, and they were able to get Jones in. But, yeah, they've got some good young players, and Jones has been really, really good. And Matthew is just so well respected by everybody around the league, and he's really found a home here in Kansas City.
Along these lines of the future, and, if Patrick Mahomes wins this 2nd Super Bowl, then we're going to start going, well, can he get to 6 wins like Brady? Could he play in 10 Super Bowls? In order to do that, you got to have good players around you. Maybe not all superstars, but guys who play together the way they did for Brady in New England. As you look at your salary structure and cap and everything that goes into it, age of guys, already we've seen 2 tackles out, and you mentioned the Canadian doctor who opted. I'm sure he's going to come back. I would suspect that he would. But is this team made up to make a run beyond the next couple of years?
Yeah, they really are. I mean, a lot of these guys, Travis Kelce got a new deal. Tyreek Hill's deal is fairly fresh. And so they've got a lot of these players back. And if you have the quarterback, you've got the quarterback, okay? So they're good for a couple more years. Now, they'll have to start. They already did this. Sammy Watkins was, by all accounts, going to just be a cap casualty in the offseason.
Right.
Because his number was way too big. But you know what he discovered that he liked? He liked to win. So he took a great big pay cut. But he's a guy who was a first-round top 5 pick, who then he got a big contract already. So he's gotten 2 big contracts. He's like, I don't know how much money I need, right? But winning, these guys really understand that, and maybe not everybody does, right? We've seen teams break up. But these guys right now, winning is a pretty good balm for not having the biggest contract at your position. But they have found a way to have the number one thing, and that's the quarterback. I tell people all the time, what was Tom Brady? He was an older guy because he went to school for 5 years and, didn't play his first year. So he was not 25 years old when he won his 3rd Super Bowl, okay? He'd been in the league for, I think he was 26 when he won his second one. So Patrick can be a year ahead of him on that. But what Tom did, I don't know if legally or illegally, whatever he did with the Patriots, and you can never put anything past him, was he wasn't like the number one paid quarterback in the league all the time. He understood that winning is better than anything else. And I think Patrick gets that. You know, Patrick went to college for 3 years and didn't even go to a bowl game his last year, okay? He lost a lot of football games at Texas Tech. So he knows you have to have good players around him. And Patrick is going to make more money from State Farm and Bush, or what's he doing? He's got the Oakley sunglasses and all these things off the field. That the on the field money's great. You want all this money. They already got him locked up for whatever it is. It's $500,000. He won't get all that, but there's a whole bunch of money in there. He wants to win, man. This guy loves to win, and he knows you can't win alone. This isn't golf or tennis. You have to have people around you. So there's a chance, but it is a legacy type game because if you win this one, you've got 2. You got Tom stuck at 6, and you're just 25 years old. Now, if you lose, all of a sudden you lost a year, and Tom's got 7. So this is a monstrous game as far as those things go.
Yeah, but he did get money. I mean, he got a $500 million deal if he sticks around for the whole thing.
Yeah, now they'll
he's
take
a big
some of that away.
caveat.
It's not all guaranteed.
he didn't sacrifice like Brady. I'll
No.
tell you that.
He didn't, but they'll massage that thing every year. It'll be redone, right? They'll move the thing around and convert it to signing bonus. They do all kinds of stuff with it. But the dude is not going to ever have to worry about money because he's the star of the league, and he's not. It doesn't seem like. Now I always tell people I don't know anybody. You don't know if someone's doing something crazy when they're not around the stadium. He doesn't seem like the guy's going to get in trouble doing anything. So he's going to continue to get to be the guy who's the spokesperson for insurance and glasses and shampoo and all that stuff. So I mean, that's the smart way to go about doing it. You know, I mean, he doesn't do anything
seems
wong.
so likable. Yeah, he seems so
super nice
likable,
guy.
and
he's guarded.
He's
doesn't
been
get
around it
himself in
all his
trouble.
life.
Yep, he's too good to be true. Honestly, this is what it is.
Isn't that something?
But
and we still have heroes in sports.
And he is so driven to win, and he never gives up. And that's the thing with Brady too. Brady's down 25 points in the third quarter of the Super Bowl, and he wins the game. Okay, now he hasn't won every Super Bowl; he's lost some of them. But you're never done. They were down 17-0 to the Chiefs, and they came back and they only lost by 3 points earlier this year. He's like a snake. You got to kill him, cut the head off, bury him, burn him, whatever. And Patrick's that way too. This team was down 24 points in the playoffs last year in the second quarter of the game against the Texans, and they won by 20. They had the lead by halftime. So someone asked him on one of the Zooms this week, is there ever a point where you think you're out of a game? You know, they were down 24 or whatever. And Patrick's like, no, not until it's zeros. And there's really mathematically no chance. And that's what you have to have in this thing. You never take a loss, laying down. And Brady's got that. And right now, Patrick has it. Will Patrick have it when he's 30, 36, 40, 43? I don't know, but he's certainly got it right now.
So,
wow.
Go ahead, Brett.
No, I was just going to say, Todd, we're Drew, Dave, we're all gigantic baseball fans. Drew's a big Oriole fan. Dave's a gigantic Cubs fan. I'm a gigantic Cardinals fan. I can tell from visiting with you and you working there in the markets, you're a baseball fan. It's hard to believe that Patrick Mahomes' dad, and he's one of those guys that played for everybody, did not play in Kansas City or in St. Louis. But he was a Cub for a year, and he was never an Oriole, Drew. But, I mean, usually St. Louis or Kansas City finds one of those guys like Edwin Jackson that plays for everybody.
Well, and the Royals have gone through about everything walking that Patrick's dad was playing because they were terrible. So he actually did play for the AAA Omaha, they were called Storm Chasers. Well, they weren't Storm; they were Golden Spikes back then, or whatever. They were Storm Chasers now. So at the end, he actually did end up in the AAA for the Royals organization, but he never played a big league game for him. So yeah, that was he's and his dad's a nice guy, and he knows enough about being a professional athlete, and that's one of the things that Patrick learned. The business of it. Go be a good guy because Patrick's dad was a good guy and a good enough pitcher, but that's why he got to play for as long as he did. Because if you're a jerk and you're just kind of okay, they won't have you around. They just won't keep you.
Good point.
And you know what it's like. You guys are in Tennessee, and there's a lot of yes sir, no sir, and stuff like that. And that's Patrick is the MVP of the league in the Super Bowl, and he's a kid from Texas, and he's a yes sir, no sir guy. And it's just so funny and interesting in today's world. You don't get a lot of that with young people, and he's still that way. And I don't know if he's always going to be that way, but that's the way he was raised, and that's the way he still is today.
I know you've done a lot of studying of this game already. I'm sure you're breaking it down on your show, but do it for us if you don't mind, and give us your pick and the score.
Well, I think, like I mentioned before, they say it all the time. It's going to whatever happens up front is going to decide this game. That's not always the case with Chiefs games, but I think it is in this one. You know, the Chiefs have to keep Mahomes upright. They had a real problem against the Saints, getting him hit when Eric Fisher had a bad back that game, and that was one of the games that Mitchell Schwartz wasn't there, and the Saints D-line is pretty nasty. So they need to keep him upright, keep him from getting hit, and they'll be fine. I mean, they're going to design plays. Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, McCole Hardman's played great when he's been called upon. They have plenty of offense to get this done. So I think this seems to me like a 30s to 20s game or 30s to 30s game. I'll be surprised if it's not something like that. And at this point, the way it's going for the Chiefs, I'm not going to pick against them. Although, like I said with Brady, you can't count him out till it's absolutely over. But I think the Chiefs will win this game. They'll probably get out to a decent lead. They've been good early in game. It'll probably be a very interesting second half. But I promise you this, if Tom Brady throws 3 picks like he did against the Packers, they're not in this game. They will lose because the Chiefs will take advantage of those things. So my score I've been telling people is 33-24 Chiefs, and that's what I'll stick with until I hear something entirely different from someone.
Good stuff. 33-24.
We got it.
And like most of the
Gotta
country.
get you right on that over. I know you guys.
Yeah.
I'm so jealous. I heard you guys have legal gambling in Tennessee. We don't have that in Missouri or Kansas yet. It's very disappointing that they've had 5 years to get this worked out and haven't done it. But that's right there on the over, and that's the Chiefs cover. So there you go.
Cover,
Good
over, love it. And you're like about 75% of America. That is
Yeah,
the trendy
everyone's betting
pick.
the Chiefs,
Are you surprised at that?
No, I'm not. I mean, the Chiefs. I mean, they've only lost one game this year when they tried, and they're so much fun to watch. I think that it's pretty obvious when you're the Super Bowl champion, you're probably going to end up being the favorite, and they haven't done anything to disprove that for anyone. And the line's not some big line, so I think I get why they are, and maybe some people will get burned, but I think they're going to win this game, and I think it'll be more than a touchdown.
Delightful talking with you. We truly appreciate it. I know you're going to enjoy the game, that's for certain. And I know we'll catch up with you sometime down the road.
Anytime, guys. Let me know.
Thank you. Todd Lebo from
Thank you, Todd.
WHB.
Good luck. Thank you.
In Kansas City. This portion of the game, and he's also a sponsor of Talking Tigers with Greg Gaston, is Papa Lock of Memphis. You've probably seen him, heard about him, passed him while he was working. Never thought you'd need him until you do. And when you do, you really need Papa Lock of Memphis. Papa Lock of Memphis is all about locks and keys and a lot more. Lose your car key, Papa Lock can make new ones. Moving, don't take the key you're handed. Lots of other folks have been handed the same key. Papa Lock will re-key your home so you're safe. Need more than a new key? Papa Lock is expert at installing access control so you know who and when there is entry of your home, office, warehouse, and more. Multiple properties, let Papa Lock of Memphis set up a master key system for you. Call 901-527-6737. That's 527-OPEN. Papa Lock of Memphis, your trusted locksmith. I just am amazed at the vast majority
landslide
of going with Kansas City against a Tom Brady who's been just about as good as you can be in the playoffs, hasn't he? I know he had the late
this isn't Jeff Hostetler.
Yeah, no. In one of the games, he had a couple of late interceptions. I guess the Packers. He had a couple of late interceptions.
Yeah. Had one flutter ball.
Right.
One that should have been caught by Will Redmond. It was dropped before halftime. It was crucial to the outcome of that game.
So maybe that's a part of it. And again, I have not made my total pick yet. But I'm a little surprised, especially
those gears moving.
On this
I can hear them grinding away up there in that dome of yours.
Oh yeah, but
I hear you're throwing in the good and throwing out the bad info. You're ready to break it down tomorrow about this time, aren't you?
Well, today, let's see. We've had how many people make their pick? We don't know Greg Gaston yet, but what is the percentage?
We've had three on-air picks today, 2 for Kansas City, 1 for Tampa Bay. Before today, it was 8-3, so we're at 10-4 of picks. I have Greg's. I'm not going to divulge it. I'm going to let him do it on his show tomorrow. We'll pick ours tomorrow. I know where I am, and it's totally homer for our friend T.J. Reeves. But I don't care if at 8:45, 9 o'clock Sunday night, Patrick Mahomes is holding the Lombardi Trophy. Great story. Nice young man. And Dave, think of it just in Kansas City on Monday morning. If we had real school again, and we could go to school, I know a lot of places can't. I don't know if they can or can't. Every 10-year-old boy and girl would be at school Monday morning with the number 15 on.
Oh yeah. I will say this to you. I love T.J. Reeves. I really do. And I wanted him to get to the Super Bowl. That was the main. Once you're there, I mean, who? I don't care after that. He's there. He's going to do the broadcast. He doesn't get any extra money if he wins or loses. I can be.
Would you rather marry Miss Congeniality
objective.
instead of Miss America?
Well, he's married. He's not getting married again.
Is Miss
No, I'm talking about you. You sound like you love being the runner-up.
I'm just saying to you, I think it was important for him to get to the game. I don't think he's not getting a Super Bowl ring. You think they're going to give the announcer a Super Bowl ring? Forget about it. I know. That's what Drew's going. He goes, he's going to get a Super Bowl ring.
I didn't get a Sugar Bowl ring, but the owner of a bar in Oxford did where Freeze hung out.
I did get a conference championship ring. I will confess on that. But anyway, they're not going to. You know what the Super Bowl rings? What are those things worth? $35,000. What is a Super Bowl ring worth? Google that, Drew. We'll give you that.
Varying.
We'll give you that number.
Varying prices
on the other side.
Now, you know, a lot of times for like team employees and stuff, there are levels. There's the level 1 rings, there's the level 2, and there's the level 3.
For each team, you're saying? So, like, the
Most
players
often,
get level 1, management gets level 2?
I don't know. I mean, it's apportioned. It's voted, by the team. Yeah, they get one. Whatever job you have, or you may not.
Give me level 1 or nothing. Level 1 or nothing, baby.
I'd take whatever it was. It made my finger turn green. I'd take it.
This portion of our show brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai in Olive Branch, home of technology and safety. Again, last year, those Hyundais were voted as the most safe car in the world. And it's amazing. They actually were tied with another company, but safest. And that technology is outstanding. And so is the technology in Genesis. And Genesis of Olive Branch, you take that technology, that quality of that luxury car, and then you add the service they have. Look, there are 355 dealers of Genesis cars across the country, and that's big cities included. The Genesis of Olive Branch, my guys who've been together for 13 years, top 50 in the country, top 10 in the region, number 2 in the district, and they want to be number 1. There's opportunities out there for you with G70s, G80s, G90s, even the GV80. That's the SUV we've all been waiting for. They can't keep them on the lot, but they got a demo if you would like. Call Vinny Gerard, 662-890-6684. That's his direct line, or just call the shop. Vinny Gerard is his name. He's now over the Genesis cars, and he'll make it easy for you to demo that new SUV. You'll just love the ride. You'll love the look inside. You can't help but love everything about Genesis of Olive Branch and Homer Skelton Hyundai. Back in a minute, halfway home of hour number 3 on a Thursday rainy day on Sports Time on Sports 56.
Big game coverage all week. Brought to you by David Nanny, CPA. Right here on Sports 56, 98.5 and 96.1.
Sunday, it's Super Bowl 55 as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers play the Kansas City Chiefs. This is Kevin Harlan. Join me, Kurt Warner, and the rest of our Westwood One crew. Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs are looking for back-to-back titles. Tom Brady in his record 10th Super Bowl leads the Buccaneers. If it's Super Bowl 55, it's right here.
On Sports 56, 98.5 and 96.1.
Are you looking for a dependable car at a fair price and guaranteed financing approval? Then you need to make your way to Collierville Auto Center, where one price shopping is the name of the game. Family owned and operated, Collierville Auto Center has been in the business for over 20 years and is proud to serve the people of this area. Collierville Auto Center is stocked with over 50 units, including cars, trucks, SUVs, and Highlines. Looking for a particular type of vehicle? Collierville Auto Center offers a locator service with 72-hour turnaround service. With over 30 years in the automotive industry, Scott and Martin would be happy to show you how their affordable pricing and guaranteed financing can work for you. Come see Scott and his professional staff of Terry, Branson, Q for your car needs. Conveniently located at 651 West Poplar Avenue, Collierville Auto Center is situated where Highway 72 meets Poplar and Collierville. Please look them up on the web at ColliervilleAutoCenter.com. Call at 901-853-0240 or simply come and see them for an outstanding car buying experience. At Collierville Auto Center, they're here for you.
Does learning a language feel like this?
No habla español? Hablo. It's hablo? Yes. It's hablo.
Bom dia, like good day, good morning, I think.
I can say, je m'appelle David, but that's probably it.
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
This year is my year to get fluent in Spanish, and Babbel is definitely going to help me do that. The app is so easy to use, and it's so practical. It helps you learn things that you will actually need.
Since my husband is from Guatemala, I'll apply what I've learned in Babbel to our real-life situations.
I've tried other language learning apps and nothing really stuck. Babbel's been a complete game changer for me.
Hoy es miércoles y el clima está muy bueno afuera.
Estou com fome. Eu não tomei café de manhã.
Je suis des États-Unis et du Viens-tu.
Babbel, language for life, celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com, Babbel.com.
Listen Sundays at 11 a.m. to join Idlewild Presbyterian Church for worship. Idlewild is a PCUSA church located in Midtown Memphis.
Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wallo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
Working our way through our final hour. Tomorrow we will have Bruce Marshall on. We will make our Super Bowl picks. A lot of other nice surprises. We'll get ready for Memphis and East Carolina. That game's got some new meaning to it, that is for sure, because, wow, what they did last night to beat Houston? Seriously? How did that happen?
Jason Mons will be with us tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. Can't wait to chat
the
with
hottest
him.
Hottest stretch of the year for the Tigers. Andy Schiffman will talk NBA with us. And, of course, we'll talk Super Bowl 55. Now, Todd just did what all of us are very guilty of doing, whether it's at the golf course or our teams. He just kind of kept the high. He didn't throw out any of the low. He didn't go the full platform diving judge. You know, when we play golf, Dave, and we hack one in, it rolls off the water fountain to 2 feet. We write down the score, and we think it's a good score. We don't talk about how lucky we got. The Chiefs had some narrow escapes this year. Yes, they can make the case of they weren't that far from 16-0. The giveaway game on the last game of the year that they didn't even care about, and then the loss to the Raiders. But they won by 3 over the Chargers week 2. They won by 2 over Carolina week 9. They won by 4 over the Raiders in the rematch. They won by 3 against the Buccaneers in Tampa in their earlier matchup this year. And they won by 3 against the Saints and the Falcons in weeks 15 and 16. They were 14-2, and they're that good, but they didn't go out there and just lay the wood on everybody.
No, I agree. I look, championship game, anything could happen. Without 2 tackles, what happens if somebody comes in, gets a clean hit, and Mahomes has a concussion protocol? That's right. Like he might have had a couple of weeks ago. I mean, nothing is.
Chad Henne made that big play to win the Browns game.
Nothing is absolutely for sure. Before we get more into that, I asked the question: what is the value, usually average value, of a Super Bowl ring. I can remember when Al Davis did like the first really extravagant, crazy, stupid 17
Doorstop.
diamonds, humongous. Yeah. You can't barely make a fist because the ring gets in the way. Big Super Bowl ring. So they've definitely gone up in price. He started the escalation. What are they now?
Well, you've seen Joe Theismann. I mean, you see Joe Theismann ring, Dave, and it looks
I've seen his ring.
It looks like a shot put.
Well,
the early Packers champions, Jerry Kramer, Horning, Marv Fleming, those guys that come around Radio Row, their rings were very sedate. I mean, you could wear those. Those now in the last the Cardinal World Series ring in 2011. It had everything but mine and your picture on it.
Well, Joe Theismann cannot play golf in the ring that he won. Okay?
No.
I'm just letting you know that.
You can't even shake hands with anybody in them.
And those, and for the NFL players, I believe those are real diamonds or rubies or whatever the heck they are. It's not.
That's level one players.
So give me, Drew did the research. What does it cost?
All right, so from what I've been able to find, most Super Bowl rings are valued between $30,000 to $45,000.
Yep.
Now, traditionally, the teams give out roughly about 150 rings. Each ring set of those rings is worth roughly about $5 million for each team. But that's you can give out as many rings as you want. The Chiefs last year gave out over 700 championship rings.
They did not give out 700 $35,000 to $40,000 rings.
Different levels of it, but that's the average of what it's worth.
That's the average.
700 rings.
I mean, the ring that Clay Hunt has is not the same ring, and I'm not trying to denigrate anybody, but it's not the same ring as the groundskeeper.
Okay. But each player is getting that level one. You're not telling me Patrick Mahomes gets a different ring than the fourth-string safety.
You're right. The players are getting the same one, but I guarantee you the Hunt family ring was more valuable than the deep snappers.
The deep snapper doesn't even get a full-fledged level one? Come on.
I guarantee you what the Hunts do, what those owners do for their families, I've seen Charlotte Jones Anderson Super Bowl, and she being a female, she didn't have a ring. She had it made into a pendant, and it looks like Mark Spitz's gold medals.
Which owner is this?
Jerry Jones' daughter.
Oh, Jerry Jones' daughter.
In the story I got a lot of these facts from, the last New England Patriots ring, 10-karat gold with more than 400 diamonds and 20 blue sapphires per ring.
And how much was that?
And I know
that had to be more than $35,000.
That was roughly $5 million for the total.
I can't remember which one. I don't know if it was Super Bowl 42 or Super Bowl 46. I think it was 42 because I think Michael Strahan, Eli Manning, one or two other Giant stars said everybody gets one gets the same one, and they doled out like 400 because it'd been a long time for the Giants. And again, I'm not disparaging anybody, but groundskeeper got the same one that Wellington Mara got.
So
and Eli and Strahan and some stars stepped up with their own cash to make sure of that.
Well, 400 to 20,000 would be $8 million, right? If I'm doing my math correctly.
Yeah, and to the Hunts and to Jerry Jones and to Mara and Kraft and those
Chump
guys,
change.
That's cushion money.
Oh man,
that's in the tray of their well, they don't drive their own car, but if they drove their own car, it'd be in the coin tray in the car.
My goodness,
we hardly can imagine.
Right?
Did you notice this from National Signing Day yesterday? Alabama, they signed the number one player from 6 different states. They signed the number one player from Michigan. It went over well, Harbaugh.
Yeah.
Of course, in Alabama, in Mississippi, in Texas, Florida, and in Maryland. And just for kicks and giggles, they signed another guy named Devontae Smith.
Oh, wow. Well, I did know this. It was the highest-rated class in the history of 24/7. I think, what did I say the other day? I think it was 9 5-star guys.
It's mind-blowing. He should win Well, he'll win at least one with that grouping if they just kind of all go to their junior year and all turn pro.
Well, just think of this. If there's only 25 five-star guys, because, right, there's a delineation, can have only so many per year per class. That's what differentiates them from a four-star, right? You only get so many. There's a finite number. I believe it's 25. If he got 9 of them, you're talking about almost 40% of the class, of the top players in that class, all went to Alabama.
Dave, I just didn't realize that the state of Maryland, well, I know the D.C. suburbs, booming, and naturally with people and with money, you're going to get good in sports. But I just didn't realize it produced that many great high school football players. But unfortunately for the home state Terrapins, Greg Gaston's alma mater, out of the top 17 players, Maryland only signed 2. I mean, everybody in the world goes in there and signs players.
I didn't realize. So you've got Baltimore. That's a big town.
And most of them are
the
from
DC
St.
suburbs.
Francis in Baltimore.
Okay,
from the one school.
Right, you do have the D.C. suburbs. I didn't think it was a hotbed of,
I didn't realize it, but you go through. I mean, it
interesting.
Drew, pop up the Maryland list at 24/7 Art Rivals, and I mean it's Michigan, Notre Dame, Penn State, Alabama, SEC going in there.
On any given year, it's almost always Texas, California, and
now
all
that 17 wasn't 5 stars. Yeah, they weren't all 5 stars, but all going to big time schools and big time football factories. And Ole Miss went into Pennsylvania and signed 2 players out of there.
That is always a hotbed. That's huge population.
But how few Penn State signed of them?
Well, that's not good for James Franklin.
Homegrown players.
No.
It usually doesn't portend good things. No, it doesn't.
No, but Pennsylvania is up there right after that grouping with California, Texas, and Florida. Then Pennsylvania is in there. New Jersey's usually in there because of the population base, and they love to play football.
Ole Miss got a D lineman from there. It's also a first baseman in baseball. 320-pound first baseman.
Well, first-year coaches, guys that just took over programs, did not fare very well in according to the synopsis that I read. It was a tough year for them. It was a tough year for a lot of high school players that didn't get a chance to be seen this year. So there could be some real gems coming that no one really saw. That's because of COVID-19. But I saw that Lane Kiffin was considered one of those that was a winner. I would say at the level, although I didn't read it, but I would have to tell you it's the highest-ranked class in the history of the school. So Memphis was clearly a winner in that regard. And
for a one-year guy, yeah. Sam Pittman had a good class. He was in the 20s, one-year guy.
I think Tennessee,
Eli Drinkwitz, one-year guy, had a good year.
And in all fairness, I think Josh Heupel may have gotten a little bit of egg on his face because of the Rock Taylor incident. But if you go back to the now departed Jeremy Pruitt class, it actually is still a pretty good class. I think it's a top 25 class, isn't it?
Clark Lee at Vandy was able to have a pretty decent class with all the difficulties that Vandy faces, even in a good year, much less a new coaching change.
So Maryland,
but everybody wins on signing day.
Well, then they got to develop them. That's for sure. Maryland,
play.
how many top 4-star guys from Maryland signed out of the state? Did you say, Drew? Or was that what you were looking for?
Out of the top 25 players in the state of Maryland, Maryland got 4 of them out of the top 25.
Wow. Yeah, 2 out of the top 17. That's got to drive you crazy. You have them there in your backyard,
right,
and you can't get them to go to the state university in the Big Ten.
Well, and I did see that Josh Heupel wants to make in-state a priority. So we'll see. He dissed somebody from Oxford, Alabama, so that shouldn't hurt him in the state of with high school coaches in the state of Tennessee, I guess, would be a fair thing to say. This portion of the show is brought to you by Conway Services, heating, cooling, plumbing, electric, and free brewery. So we had January where they were giving away a free gas furnace, and it's always successful, and it's still slow, and John's always trying to keep innovation going, so he's got free brewery. Second or third year he's done this. The warehouse is full. Crews are still slow. He sparks business by giving stuff away. And free brewery is the symbol of that. You get a Conway Carrier 80% gas furnace free if you get a Carrier standard air conditioning system. You heard me. Get the air conditioning system from Carrier in the month of February. You get a gas furnace for free. You also get a free April air cleaner, a free 10-year parts warranty, and a free Nest thermostat. There's a lot of freebies there, like $2,000 worth, plus 12 months interest-free. That's why John calls it Free Brewery. All you got to do is make the call, 384-3511, 384-3511. Conway Services, heating, cooling, plumbing, and electric. We are back in just a minute. It'll officially be crunch time.
You have opinions?
I think they got a lot of athletic ability.
We want to hear them.
Oh, absolutely. I agree with you.
Call us on the First Bank phone line at 360-8255 or text us on the First Bank text line at 67129.
Do you want a greener, more weed-free lawn? If you're like me, you can't stand the sight of dandelions, clover, or especially crabgrass. Hi, I'm Brandon Hawley, president of Lawn Solutions. We are your locally owned and operated weed control and fertilization company. We are also experts in disease and insect control on your lawn and landscape. Our uniformed technicians are full-time, year-round licensed and certified by the state of Tennessee. Lawn Solutions' personalized service is far more superior to that of national companies that promise but simply cannot deliver. We return phone calls, we keep appointments, and we want your business. What we will not do is bother you with endless phone calls or junk mail. Lawn Solutions will not sell you something your lawn doesn't need. If you're looking for a local lawn care company to kill your weeds and feed your grass, then Lawn Solutions is the finest. Call us at 867-5626. That's 867-5626. Or go online at LawnSolutionsInc.net. From our family to yours, we want to thank you for your business.
Need to sell your home? You're in luck because I buy houses. All you have to do is call Bill at 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. Grab that pin, 901-406-1101, or just save it in your phone. Bill at I Buy Houses. I Buy Houses buys houses in any area, in any condition, at any time, as simple as that. I Buy Houses is guaranteed to close in 5 days. So if you need your cash fast, just call Bill at I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101. Has your house been on the market? Were you just tired of renters? Or is it just time to start over? Well, avoid repairing, cleaning, painting, and prepping your house. Just pick up the phone and call Bill at 901-406-1101. That's Bill at I Buy Houses. If you're in Southwind, South Memphis, North Mississippi, North Memphis, Collierville, if you can hear this, just call my friend Bill at I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101.
Did you know nearly 40% of men under 40 and over 75% of men over the age of 40 experience sexual performance concerns? At the Memphis Men's Clinic, their experienced physician performs a comprehensive evaluation that determines which specific issues may interfere with your sexual performance. These issues can vary and range from anxiety to medical issues, low testosterone, or erectile dysfunction. The Memphis Men's Clinic has evaluated hundreds of men of all ages over the years and reestablished a normal sexual life. The Memphis Men's Clinic will work aggressively to resolve issues and allow you to restore your sexual health and overall well-being. That's the Memphis way. If you're 20 years old or 90 years old, come and get cared for the Memphis way. Treatment that's based on your specific needs after a professional clinical evaluation by their experienced board-certified physician. Call the Memphis Men's Clinic today at 901-443-0475 or visit memphismensclinic.com.
Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Come on, Muhammad, then we hit fame. We beat you with the deal, we get insane.
Welcome back in as we get set to give you crunch time. This portion of the show brought to you by Sheldon Rosengarten, Mark Spensdorf. There's something missing in the real estate market right now. homes. That's right. Homes for sale are missing. There are so few on the market that anybody thinking of selling their home or their condo ought to take advantage of this crazy hot market. And that comes straight from the man, Sheldon Rosengarten himself with Marks Mensdorf. But to avoid hazards and pitfalls and problems, please make sure you choose the right agent to rep you. Sheldon always recommends talk to 2, 3, or 3 real estate brokers. Just make sure he's one of them. And there is a difference in experience and levels of knowledge. He's got a highly successful strategic marketing program. It includes the Shellbucks option. Nobody's got that except him. And that usually means the difference in whether you sit or you sell. Thinking of selling or buying, call or email Sheldon. That's Sheldon Rosengarten at memphisrelocate.com or 483-0546. No need to tell you it's 901. Again, Sheldon at 483-0546 or memphisrelocate.com. It's crunch time.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy! This is for all the biggest crunch time. You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye!
Boop!
What's happening, big dog? How you doing?
It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin, this baby is over.
All 1, all 2, all 3, take.
Time for Taco Bell Crunch Time. Taco Bell, home of the crispy tortilla chips, topped with a double portion of either seasoned beef or shredded chicken, plus refried beans, nacho cheese sauce, reduced fat sour cream, guacamole, and a 3-cheese blend. Nachos Bel Grande, heaping portion of chips, topped with ground beef, tomatoes, beans, nacho cheese sauce, and a dollop of sour cream. Taco Bell, home to great food you get on your way home real fast, and they bring you crunch time every day. Dave, I learned today that I think it was ultimately bad for the Tigers and the AAC to have Houston get upset by ECU because ECU's not any good. They're going nowhere. They're just playing spoiler. It would have been better for the Tigers to be that team to first upset Houston because this still is a league without any national sizzle and an average to bad league.
I agree with you. The only good thing about it is Memphis, if they were to beat them twice, could actually win the league now outright.
Sure could. Great point.
But other than that, the league takes a hit when a 200-net team beats your best team, and you're shocked by it. It was not good, and now we're all going to sit here and wonder if the transfer of Mills, who was the preseason conference player of the year, has put a real dent into what the image was about all this harmony and how good they were doing under Kelvin Sampson at Houston. I still tend to think that's the case. We all know sometimes schools, look at all the upsets last night, mess up. But in a league that is considered a one-bid league at this point, you really can't afford those kinds of mess-ups. I'm with you. I don't think I'm sure Mike Oresco was not pleased today. I just learned this. The Hustle have announced roster additions. They now have 14 players. They will add Bucks guard Sam Merrill, who's, by the way, he's played in 9 games for the Bucks this season, and Mavericks guard Tyrell Terry. They've been flex assigned, whatever that means, to the Hustle. Terry, by the way, has appeared in 11 games for the Mavericks, so they're getting a couple of somewhat experienced players to join the Memphis Hustle. It's clear to me the NBA really wants something to develop. I don't see how they can make any money having all these players, and they're paying them more, without crowds coming or anything else. This is all taking place in the same place. In Orlando this year, there's not going to be any Hustle games at the Landers Center, but the NBA is really going to try as hard as they can to have a development league, at least at this point.
Could have done without last night all the criticism of John Calipari. He was not throwing anybody under a bus. Look, it's easy to pile on John Calipari. Many do it. I like to do it occasionally, but John Calipari gets it. He knows those guys are warriors. He knows what it takes. He's a basketball lifer, loves the game, and bash for the game. Whether you hate him, like him, whatever, He was not ripping on a player that was injured. He was just merely saying if he's limping, he can't go.
Well, I think there's guys who've been waiting for this moment, like Pat Forty, to go after him. And that's what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And at this point, I mean, this is
he'll get him back.
Probably as bad a year as John Calipari could possibly have. He even got a good recruiting class. You remember in this preseason, even though guys that we know that we have had on the air did not think, like Blake Lovell, did not think Kentucky was going to win the conference, but nobody saw this coming. No one saw this class that he had and this dysfunction. They're shooting like, I think they're 324th or 325th in the country in three-point shooting percentage. Ooh, ouch. I mean, he can get them in spots to have open looks, but they got to shoot them, right? But he brought them there. So if you're going to go for Cal to try to bring them down, this is the year absolutely to do it. I could do without this story just coming across. Number 2, Baylor. And we know now Baylor and Gonzaga have separated themselves from the pack. Those are the 1-2 teams in the country without a doubt. Baylor won't play its next 2 games as scheduled. The Bears won't play against TCU on Saturday. They won't go against number 9 Oklahoma next Wednesday because of the Big 12's COVID-19 protocols. No other specifics were released by the school today.
We'll be keeping a close eye tonight on all things Grizzlies against the Houston Rockets at FedEx Forum. Denver at Staples late. I think 2 of the 3 or 4 or 5 best players for sure in the league. And on ESPN tonight, the 30 for 30, the 2 geniuses at war, Al Davis versus Pete Rozelle. One's mantra was just win, baby. The other one's mantra was just make money, baby.
Yeah, I'm looking forward. And remember, that's an 8 o'clock start for the Grizzlies with the new look Houston Rockets, who, by the way, had a nice little run. They won 6 of their last 7 since saying goodbye to Harden. I'm also going to look at Cincinnati and Temple because the Tigers, after they play East Carolina, actually a week from tonight, they will be taking on a Bearcats team that is not going anywhere in a hurry. John Brandon just hasn't seemed to have been able to keep what Nick Cronin had going. It may be too early to tell, especially in the middle of a COVID year.
That's right.
It's only his second year, but it sure seems something is missing. And that's a shame because if the American is to be back to what other conferences were that Memphis were in, like the Metro, where you'd get 4 or 5 in, or the Great Midwest, where you'd get 4 or 5 bids. If they're going to get back there, Cincinnati's got to be one of the great representatives. I'd also, I'd like to see SMU get back, but this talk about Boise coming into the league for both, Boise is in all the bracketology. I'd be for that to happen. I'd love that trip to Boise personally, so it would be okay with me. We've got to thank Greg Gaston, Keith Smith, Russell Copeland, who 2 touchdowns, he says the Chiefs will win, and Todd Lebo from 810 WHB in Kansas City, who also thinks that the Chiefs will be winners. We'll talk more about that tomorrow, that is for sure. For Drew and for Brett, I'm Wallo. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a great night, everybody.
Hi, this is John Conway with Conway Services. With everyone spending more time at home these days, are you running out of hot water? Did you know the average life of a tanked water heater is only 10 to 12 years? It may be time for a tankless water heater from Conway Services that never runs out of hot water. And the average life of a tankless water heater is up to 20 years. So call Conway Services right now and get your new tankless water heater for as low as $79 per month. Or I'll give you $250 for that old tanked water heater. That's right, get your new tankless water heaters for as low as $79 per month. Now you could do that. These energy-saving models only heat the water you use, saving you money on your gas bill every month. So go ahead, take a 1-hour shower while the dishwasher's running. You'll never run out of hot water. And no more worrying about that tank bursting in your attic either. So call Conway Services, the Mid-South's premier tankless water heater professionals at 384-3511. And the first 30 callers with a 10-year-old